My farm is in the desert. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 52, Leo Che's Chicken. The breeze was blowing. The firewood in the stone stove was burning vigorously. The big iron pot for stewing dog meat slowly overflowed with the aroma of medicinal herbs and dog meat. The flames in the earthen nest more than half a person's height next to it were constantly roasting the earth blocks piled on top. As the flames roasted, the earth blocks turned from yellow to red, then from red to black, and slowly became grayish white. Ye had flown enough kites and sat next to Cai Hongming with her aunt, watching him cook dog meat. Her little face was reflected red by the flames in the stove. The fragrance wafted over, making the little guy drool, and couldn't help asking, "Uncle, when can we eat? I'm hungry." "Wait a little longer. If you're hungry, Uncle will get you some bread." Cai Hongming brought some bread and water when he came over, so that he wouldn't be hungry on the way, and had nothing to eat. "No, I want to eat meat." Ye shook her head. Cai Hongming glanced at her chubby body and thought to himself, no wonder she was so fat. Shiwana held Ye in her arms and watched Cai Hongming make a fire. She felt that the scene was very warm, just like when she was a child squatting in the firewood room at home and watching her grandmother make a fire. It felt like home. Thinking about it, her face couldn't help but blush, and she wondered what she was thinking. "Wana, do you dare to eat dog meat?" Cai Hongming asked Shiwana beside him. He didn't dare to call her fat woman anymore, for fear that she would be angry. He was very confused. Why couldn't he call her a name that he could call when he was a child? Is it because he became beautiful? He became handsome, and he didn't say anything when others called him black-faced boy. What's there to be afraid of? Shiwana rolled her eyes at him. It's good that she dares to eat it. He was afraid that she would not dare to eat dog meat later and drool when she saw others eating it. The firewood continued to burn. After a while, the soil on the earthen nest was almost burned. Zui Feng shoveled some of the charcoal inside to the stove mouth, then put a tightly wrapped thing in, covered it with charcoal, blocked the stove mouth, and used branches to push away some of the dirt on the earthen nest, leaving a hole to put the things in. Cai Hongming looked at it, took the sweet potatoes he brought and walked over, saying, "Wait a minute, those who brought potatoes, eat potatoes." The words speak for themselves, telling him not to eat the sweet potatoes he brought. "Who likes your stuff? I brought delicious food today." Zui Feng was not interested. "What good stuff?" Cai Hongming asked. "The chickens of Leo Che's family." "Oh." The Leo Che family in the town is a professional chicken farmer. His chickens are different. The feed they feed contains keyhole, which is known as the medicine of immortality, so the chicken meat has the taste and medicinal properties of keyhole medicine. It is not only delicious, but also nourishing. In the town, his chickens sell the best, and they are in short supply. I didn't expect Zui Feng to get one today, but what's the use of one? There are 7 or 8 people here today, and no one can eat a piece of meat. After a while, the potatoes and sweet potatoes they brought were put into the earthen nest. Cai Hongming and Zui Feng quickly picked up the sticks beside them and pushed the burnt earth on the earthen nest into it, and then smashed them one by one to cover the potatoes and sweet potatoes inside. After smashing them, they shoveled some sand on them to prevent the heat from escaping. After it was done, they waited to eat. This time, they also came out for a picnic with the medicinal materials merchant that Zui Feng mentioned last time, a fat man named Ruan Xiangsuan who came from Jiangnan. Ruan Xiangsuan saw that Zui Feng was interested in cooperating in the medicinal materials business, so he came to investigate. He was always worried about some things if he didn't see them in person. So there was a picnic today. After eating, Zui Feng also planned to take him to dig keyholes to see the desert specialties and scenery. After estimating the time and feeling that the potatoes and sweet potatoes were almost cooked, Cai Hongming and Zui Feng picked up the branches nearby and started digging. The potatoes and sweet potatoes inside had been cooked by the burnt soil and the ashes inside the earthen pit, so they had to be careful when digging to avoid damaging the things inside. Ruan Xiangsuan also became interested, so he took a branch from the side and started digging. who knew that he used too much force and punctured the potatoes inside. Fat brother, be careful. You have to be as gentle as you treat women when digging these things. Don't be too rough, otherwise you won't be able to dig out a good potato in the end. Zhi Weifeng said as he watched from the side. Ruan Xiangsa nodded in agreement and moved much more gently. Cai Hongming, who was standing next to him, sneered, your thoughts are so dirty that you can even bring women into this. Why not? The principles are the same all over the world. Cai Hongming was too lazy to talk nonsense with him and continued to dig. He soon dug up a sweet potato. He squeezed it and it was very soft. It looked ripe, so he gave it to Yaya, who was waiting impatiently. The sweet potato was still hot after it came out of the nest. Shiwana took it over and peeled it to feed her. The little girl was very happy. Zhi Weifeng also dug out a few and casually gave them to the people waiting next to him. Then he took one himself, peeled it and started to eat it. Cai Hongming looked at it and said, what are you eating? Eat it after you finish digging. You dig first. I'll eat one to satisfy my craving. What's good about a tasteless potato? Cai Hongming was too lazy to pay attention to him and continued to dig. After a while, all the contents were dug out and placed on the folding table he brought. Everyone got a bowl of dog meat, ate potatoes and sweet potatoes, tore chicken, and ate with the baked naan bought from the old hoo-hoo man in the town. They were very happy. The chicken was eaten up first, and everyone was a little reluctant to leave. There are too few chickens. You should buy a few more. Cai Hongming said. Old Manche's chickens have been sold out. Now this batch is not ready to leave the nest. I went to buy him, and he didn't sell it at all. It was his son who caught one. Otherwise, you want to eat chicken, but there is no feather. You can't hang yourself on a tree. If his family doesn't have any, go to another family. Old Len's desert chicken tastes good. It's far worse, Brother Pang, don't you think so? I don't know if you haven't eaten it, but this chicken tastes really good. Buy me a few when you go back. We'll talk about it later. Old Manche has a weird temper. He won't sell chickens until they leave the nest. After eating, the group took a rest and drove to the next destination. This time, Cai Hongming specially rented an off-road vehicle to take Shiwana out. It cost 500 yuan a day, and the fuel cost was paid by himself. It was extremely expensive, but this was the price of a good car. A bad car could cost 200 or 300 yuan, but it was better not to take that kind of car. After driving for about an hour, we arrived near Shitanzi River. This place is not far from the county town. After sand control, there are clumps of plants on the yellow sand, including whitethorn, Achnathorum splendens, camel thorn, etc. The probability of finding Sinomorium sarngaricum here is much higher than in other places. Chapter 53 Elixir of Life. The weather is unpredictable at this time of year. It was sunny and windy in the morning, but in the afternoon, after a few drizzles of rain, it turned cold and the sky became white and there was no sun. When they arrived at the place, Cai Hongming and others got off the car and looked for Sinomorium sarngaricum among the plants in the desert Gobi. Sinomorium sarngaricum is a perennial succulent parasitic plant, also known as immortal medicine, ground hairball, rusty iron rod, and loxial fruit. It grows wild in the desert Gobi, where there is no snow and no freezing. There were written records about Sinomorium sarngaricum in the pre-Qin period, and it was first used as medicine in the Han Dynasty. It was cherished by famous doctors and famous cases of all dynasties. Compendium of Materia Medica says that it is sweet, warm, and non-toxic. It greatly replenishes yin, benefits essence and blood, and facilitates bowel movements. It moisturizes dryness and nourishes tendons, and treats impotence. Modern medical research believes that Sinomorium sarngaricum has a good effect on the treatment of leukemia, diabetes, asthma, and premature ejaculation. There is a Sinomorium sarngaricum city in Guazhou, Zhejiang, and the ruins still exist. According to legend, during the Tang dynasty, Zhu Pingyi was trapped near Guazhou during his expedition to the west. His soldiers were exhausted, and they were short of food and water. They were about to be annihilated. By chance, the soldiers found a plant in the desert and used it to satisfy their hunger. Unexpectedly, after eating this plant, the soldiers were full of energy and won the battle. This plant is Sinomorium sarngaricum. Since then, the place where the soldiers found Sinomorium Sangharicum was named Sinomorium Sangharicum City. The reproduction process of Sinomorium Sangharicum is very peculiar. Unlike ordinary plants, it is very similar to humans and animals. In May and June every year, Sinomorium Sangharicum begins to emerge from the ground and begins to mature in July and August. The male and female parts of the same plant pollinate each other and produce seeds. Because the head of Sinomorium Sangharicum is covered with scales, the seeds are wrapped very tightly and cannot fall off. At this time, a small white insect will be born from the bottom of the Sinomorium Sangharicum, and experts named it Sinomorium Sangharicum insect. Sinomorium Sangharicum insect begins to move upward from the bottom along the inside of Sinomorium Sangharicum, eating up the Sinomorium Sangharicum bit by bit, until it reaches the top. At this time, a hole is formed inside the Sinomorium Sangharicum, and the Sinomorium Sangharicum seeds fall into the bottom of the Sinomorium Sangharicum along the hole. As the internal water of Sinomorium Sangharicum flows back, it enters the root of Natraria sibiricum through the channel about 2 mm thick connecting Sinomorium Sangharicum and Natraria sibiricum. At the root of Natraria sibiricum, it flows along the water flow and enters the parts suitable for its storage. At this time, winter comes and Natraria sibiricum stops growing. Sinomorium Sangharicum seeds begin to absorb nutrients from Natraria sibiricum and grow rapidly. The parasitic part bulges out a fist-sized bag. After a winter of gestation, it begins to germinate in March of the following year and breaks out of the soil in one fell swoop. It can grow, pollinate, and produce seeds in dozens of days, and start a new round of growth cycle. There is an old saying in Liangzhou, called Sinomorium Sangharicum of 393 days is better than ginseng. People call the 9 days from the winter solstice the first 9 days, and every 9 days thereafter is a stage, called the second 9 days, the third 9 days, 0.99 days, a total of 81 days. This period is undoubtedly the coldest day of the year. Sinomorium Sangharicum has the effect of invigorating yang and consolidating essence, strengthening yin and benefiting marrow. Eating it in the cold winter, to nourish the body and resist the cold winter is indeed better than ginseng. Because Sinomorium Sangharicum is most effective when dug during the coldest days of winter, there is a saying that Sinomorium Sangharicum is not picked unless it is the coldest day of winter. In the old days, when Sinomorium Sangharicum bloomed in the summer, herbalists would brave the scorching heat and search inch by inch among the black gravel and white thorns in the desert. Every discovery would make them excited. After finding it, they were not in a hurry to dig it up, but left a mark first to prove that it had an owner, and then began a long and patient wait. Summer after summer, in the deep winter, when the black wind howled at night, herbalists would set foot on this land again, and dig out the Sinomorium Sangharicum with the mark according to their memory. Without the experience of living in the desert, it is difficult to imagine the hardships of herbalists walking on the endless yellow sand. In the past, Sinomorium Sangharicum was not valuable, and was everywhere in the desert. At that time, Sinomorium Sangharicum was not recognized by the market, and the loading price at the place of origin was only a few yuan. It is also hard to say from which day that Sinomorium Sangharicum suddenly became a magical object of nourishing yin and strengthening yang, and the real Sinomorium Sangharicum of the coldest days of winter was even sold at a high price. Driven by profit, the Sinomorium in the desert has attracted a wave of predatory mining. The number of Sinomorium in the desert has also gradually decreased in this frenzy. So much so that some local governments have to issue decrees prohibiting the mining of Sinomorium. Now, the Sinomorium in the desert around Guilin County has been basically mined out, and only some areas that cannot be reached by manpower still have some left. The place where Ziwi Feng brought them was actually not safe. It is easy to drive here, and there must be people who come to dig, but there is no guarantee that someone has not noticed and dug the remaining ones. There are 2 or 3 keyholes. If you are lucky, you can dig out a lot of them when you see one. After searching for a while in the green bushes of the endless yellow sand, they did not find the Sinomorium they wanted to dig. So Ziwi Feng got in the car and took them to another place to look for it. Before getting in the car, Ye suddenly shouted, "Uncle, there is something over there." Following the direction of her finger, Cai Hongming suddenly saw a pink mushroom head emerging from under a clump of grass. He ran over to take a look, and found that it was indeed Sinomorium. Zi Weifeng, who was about to drive, saw it and quickly took out a shovel from the car and started digging. After a while, a bunch of cinnamorium of different sizes were exposed below. He was so happy that he shouted to Yaya, "Yaya is great, uncle will treat you to roast lamb tonight." Yaya laughed happily when she heard it. She liked meat the most. Cai Hongming shook his head repeatedly. He didn't expect that this guy would even deceive children. He had planned to roast a whole lamb in the evening. This time the harvest was good. A total of 12 cinnamoriums were dug. When digging cinnamorium, people who know the business will only dig above the root, retaining the root connecting the host and it, so that it can grow new cinnamoriums in the future. Those who don't know the business don't care, and even take the pot. There is an old Chinese saying, leave a line for others, so that you can meet again in the future. This sentence is also very suitable for digging wild cinnamorium. If you leave it a ray of life, you can dig it again in the future. If you dig it all, it will be gone in the future. Many people don't understand this truth, so the wild resources of cinnamorium are getting less and less, and they have to start artificial cultivation. In addition to being dried for medicinal purposes, cinnamorium sangaricum can also be eaten raw. The taste is okay, but some cinnamorium sangaricum tastes bitter, while others taste sweet, so whether it tastes good or not depends entirely on luck. Following the demonstration of Zi Weifeng and Cai Hongming, Ruan Xiangsun, who grew up in a water town in the south of the Yangtze River, peeled a cinnamorium sangaricum and ate it. He felt that the taste was okay, and it seemed to have a hint of wild flavor compared to the cooked medicinal food. But I don't know if eating like this will cause diarrhea at night. Ruan Xiangsun was very worried. After digging cinnamorium sangaricum, Zi Weifeng took Ruan Xiangsun to see the desert scene. He originally wanted to take him to dig Sistanch Deserticula, but it was a bit late, so he didn't go, and drove directly back to the county town. Although they are both parasitic plants, the price of Sistanch Deserticula is much higher than that of cinnamorium sangaricum. Under the temptation of money, wild Sistanch Deserticula is now almost invisible after being dug, and it is extremely difficult to find, so it is impossible to dig it in an afternoon, and it can only be left for later. Chapter 54. What fertilizer did you eat? Perhaps it was because of the cold air moving southward that the weather kept changing. It was sunny in the morning, hazy in the afternoon, and blue at night with stars all over the sky. Cai Hongming closed the barbecue stall after selling the last batch of sheep. Today, Zi Weifeng bought a fat sheep for him to grill in order to entertain Ruan Xiangsun, and arranged it in the yard behind the barbecue stall. Cai Hongming was lazy and didn't want to do it, so he called the fat boy Su Kancheng to brush the ingredients while he guided him. Such a big fat sheep, plus sheep offal and some vegetables, a few people couldn't finish it at all, so Cai Hongming called Sangna and Ya's parents, and it would be more lively with more people. The dried pine wood blocks burned fiercely in the brazier, roasting the fat sheep lying on it. The pine resin released by the burning pine and the fragrance of the roasted fat sheep that gradually turned golden mixed together to form another tempting aroma that made people drool. Yeah, who loves to eat meat, can't help it anymore. She keeps swallowing her saliva while watching the fat sheep on the grill. Shiwana beside her laughs at her appearance. Zi Weifeng and Ruan Xiangsun sit together and introduce him to the wild and artificially cultivated medicinal herbs in Guilin and nearby counties and cities. They plan to go and have a look tomorrow. Cai Hongming has something to do tomorrow, so he won't accompany her. However, Zi Weifeng asks Gulixin to accompany him. Gulixin has nothing to do, so he agrees. The aroma is getting stronger and stronger, and it is impossible to ignore it. Even Ruan Xiangsun and Zi Weifeng, who are talking, stop and watch the fat sheep on the grill. The fat sheep is gradually cooked, and drops of golden meat oil drip from the roasted sheep, making a sizzling sound. Ye swallows her saliva more fiercely, and her eyes are almost popping out. The fat sheep on the grill is finally cooked. Cai Hongming picks up a knife and quickly slices the golden lamb. The people nearby took it and rolled it in a pancake and dipped it in the prepared sauce and then drank the thick mutton offal soup. The taste was really better than that of a god. Yeah, who couldn't wait any longer, took the mutton roll handed over by her aunt and ate it in big mouthfuls. Unexpectedly, she ate too fast and almost choked. Shiwana quickly scooped a bowl of mutton offal soup for her to drink, and then she felt better. Cai Hongming, who was slicing mutton quickly, happened to see this scene and teased, "Eat less, be careful not to become a fat woman." Shiwana glared at him unhappily. "It's none of your business, even if you become a fat woman, Yaya will still be as beautiful as me, your aunt, when she grows up." Cai Hongming pouted and thought to himself that she was so conceited. Yaya, who was eating mutton rolls, looked up and said, "Aunt is wrong. Yaya will grow up to be as beautiful as her mother. The little sister born by uncle and aunt will grow up to be as beautiful as aunt." Shiwana's face turned red when she heard it. She grabbed her little face in anger and said, "I love you in vain." Cai Hongming laughed at the sight and was kicked hard by Shiwana, who couldn't stand it. "Hongming, your cooking skills are really amazing," Ruan Chiangsuan said to Cai Hongming with a thumbs up while eating mutton rolls and drinking mutton soup. "No, it's just so-so," Cai Hongming said modestly. "It's a pity that you came a few days later, otherwise you would have seen how good his barbecue stall business is." Zi Weifeng said next to him. "Why don't you do it now? It's cold." "He wants to go home. Isn't he from your place?" "No, his hometown is in southern Fujian, and he goes back every year at this time. If he doesn't go back, he, a bird from the south, can't stand the cold weather in our northwest." Zi Weifeng teased Cai Hongming. Cai Hongming didn't bother to pay attention to him and continued to struggle with the mutton roll. "Oh, then you must call me when you pass by Jiangnan so that I can do my best to be a good host." Cai Hongming nodded in response, but he never took this verbal promise to heart. After eating the mutton roll, Zi Weifeng took out the sea buckthorn wine that he had brewed with wild sea buckthorn fruit for many years. Although the sea buckthorn fruit is sour, sugar is added when brewing the wine. The sea buckthorn wine is slightly sweet, soft and glutinous, and very delicious. With mutton, it makes people feel happy. Shiwana also drank a little, and I don't know if it was the effect of alcohol. Her pretty face turned pink, looking very cute, making people want to pounce on her and take a bite. Cai Hongming was a little drunk after watching. The stars in the sky were brilliant, and Cai Hongming's heart moved. He leaned over and whispered in her ear, "Can I take you to see the stars?" Shiwana bit her lower lip and thought about it, and finally nodded. After eating and drinking, Yaya was a little tired. She lay in her mother's arms, nodding her head, and wanted to sleep, so she didn't clamor to go with her. Without the restraint of the little burden, the two adult men and women were much freer. So Cai Hongming drove Shiwana to the desert outside the county. The stars were like the sea. Shiwana stood on the sand dune and looked up. She felt that the sky was so close to her at this moment. She stretched out her hand, and it seemed that she could pick the stars with one hand. "How about it? This place is good for watching stars," Cai Hongming said proudly. "Yeah," Shiwana nodded and said with emotion, "the stars here are so bright. There is no air pollution in the city here, so of course it looks brighter, but not as bright as your eyes." "Really?" Shiwana looked at Cai Hongming. "This seems to be the first time you have praised me." Cai Hongming thought about it and realized that he had never praised her when he was in school. He either said she was fat, stupid, or dumb. There was not a single good word at all. However, he could not admit such a thing, even if he was beaten to death. So he said, "It's impossible. I must have praised you, but you just don't remember it." "Really?" Shiwana glanced at him and said, "I still remember the first sentence you saw me in the second semester of junior high school." "What words?" Cai Hongming asked with a twinkling eye. "Fat woman, what kind of fertilizer did you eat? Why are you fat again?" Shiwana looked at Cai Hongming, imitating his tone, and said exaggeratedly word by word. Cai Hongming felt a little guilty when he was looked at, and said with a stiff face, "No, impossible. How could I say that? This is too hurtful. You also know how to hurt people." Shiwana squinted at him and said slowly, "Do you remember what you said to me the most?" Cai Hongming did not respond to this, nor did he dare to respond. She did not need him to respond, and continued, "Remember what you said the most was fatty. Why are you so fat? Fatty, why are you so stupid? Fatty, do you know that if you get fatter you will become a pig? Fatty, please lose some weight. You are such a big thing blocking my sight. I can hardly see anything. Fatty, do you feel like a spinning top?" Cai Hongming did not expect that she still remembered these. He almost forgot them. He was young and frivolous, and he didn't know how to say nonsense before, but he did not expect that she remembered them so clearly. No wonder some people say that you should never offend women, because women are the most vindictive, and you will die very ugly. Now he is not dead, but he is already very ugly. Cai Hongming swallowed his saliva and said, "What I said at that time was not accurate. Besides, you should not take these as bad words, but as motivational mottos. Maybe it was because of my words that inspired you to lose weight like crazy and become slim now." Bullshit. I'm naturally beautiful, so there is no need to lose weight. So, not only should I not blame you, but I should also thank you. No need. Shiwana rolled her eyes at him. I just realized that a thick skin can also withstand missiles to a certain extent. This is also the instinct of biological evolution. Cai Hongming said shamelessly. Shiwana saw that he was not giving in at all and punched him angrily, but was caught by Cai Hongming's hand. Let go. No. Shiwana was very angry and raised her other fist to hit him, but was still caught by him. Cai Hongming grabbed her hand, and seeing that she was still struggling, he simply hugged her tightly in his arms. Of course, it is not ruled out that he has other ideas. A burst of virgin fragrance entered the nose, penetrated into the heart, disturbed the heart, and made people feel uneasy. Looking at the soft lips, Cai Hongming could not help but lower his head and kiss them. Shiwana saw this, struggled to break free, turned around and kicked him on the butt. Cai Hongming stumbled carelessly and fell on the sand dune, with sand all over his mouth and face. Seeing his embarrassed look, Shiwana laughed happily. Cai Hongming turned over and sat up in anger. Shiwana saw that something was wrong and turned around and ran away. Stop right there. Come and catch me. Under the starry sky, the sand dunes reflected the reflections of a man and a woman chasing each other, and the sound of silver bells drifted in the wind. This is exactly. The graceful girl is foolish for the young man, and she is actually asterisk. Chapter 55. Buddha's Hand. The old county chief called last night, so Cai Hongming did not go out with Ziwi Feng the next day, but came to the county government office. When the old county chief saw him coming, he told him the results of the meeting. After a meeting in the county, it was agreed that the sandy land in front of Kilian village would be sold to you at a price of 2,500 yuan per mu, but there are several conditions. First, the purchased land shall not be rented, transferred, or sold, and can only be owned by you personally. Second, the effect of sand prevention and control must be seen within 5 years. If there is no effect at all, the county government has the right to take it back. Third, 1/5 of the purchased land is allowed to be used for construction, but the building shall not be sold or rented as real estate. Fourth, the purchased land can only be used for forestry, agriculture, and tourism, and shall not be engaged in industrial production or real estate trading. Otherwise, the county government has the right to take it back. Fifth, the purchased land shall not be less than 1,000 mu. These are almost the few clauses. If you feel it is okay, you can go to the county to sign the contract, and the land will be yours in the future. In fact, I said so much, mainly because I'm afraid that you will sell the land. If we sell it to you at such a cheap price without adding some rules and regulations, we will not be able to explain to our superiors and subordinates. The old county magistrate explained to Cai Hongming. Cai Hongming nodded to show his understanding. After thinking about it, he felt that, although the terms were a bit harsh, he bought the land to farm and didn't consider anything else, so these terms were not effective for him at all. So, the next day he found a lawyer and signed a contract with the county. In the future, the desert land in front of Kilian village would be his. Speaking of which, the land was more than 1,000 acres, but the land over there was not worth much at all. Even if there was more, no one would say anything. Anyway, it was written in the contract that it was only 1,000 acres. If there was land acquisition in the future, it would still be calculated as 1,000 acres. After buying the land, Cai Hongming did not plant trees or vegetables on it immediately, but first asked someone to use 2-meter-long cement pillars to enclose the land he bought, and then wait until the beginning of spring next year to start development. On the day of signing the contract, he contacted the excavators and workers in the town and went to Killian village to erect cement pillars to enclose the land. The originally deserted Killian village suddenly became lively because of the arrival of these people. Standing in front of the house, Cai Hongming looked out at the busy crowd on the distant mountaintop. On the top of the mountain, a bulldozer first cleared a path, and a car carrying cement pillars followed behind. Then, the workers behind kept unloading cement pillars and erected them. In just a short while, a row of 2-meter cement pillars stood up, looking at the busy people up there. At this moment, he realized the true meaning of the saying spend money like water. Now a worker costs hundreds of dollars, and a bulldozer costs hundreds of dollars an hour, which means it costs thousands of dollars a day. Fortunately, he still has hundreds of thousands left after buying the land. Otherwise he would not be able to build a concrete pillar. After taking a look, Cai Hongming turned back to the house. Anyway, those jobs have been contracted out to others, and he just needs to wait for the acceptance. When he came to the house, Bagang, Sanai, Wuai, and Fushu were sitting together playing cards. Although Fushu is usually stupid, he is very smart when playing cards. Cai Hongming was not interested in these things, so he just watched TV on the side. After playing for a while and taking a break, Sanyi got up and ran to the house to get something out. He said to Cai Hongming, "Hongming, come and take a look. Is this a treasure?" Cai Hongming looked at what he took out and suddenly found that it was a jade Buddha's hand, inlaid with gold foil, smooth and shiny. The Buddha's hand was holding a handprint, and there was a seal engraved on the palm. The Chinese characters on the seal were strange, and he couldn't understand it at all. "Sanyi, this is a good thing. Where did you get it?" Cai Hongming asked. "I picked it up when I was herding sheep." Sanyi smiled immediately when he heard that it was a good thing. "Is it far from us?" "Far. Can I drive it with my motorcycle?" "No, but I can drive to the foot of the mountain over there and then walk over." After asking, Cai Hongming was tempted. This broken hand was clearly broken off from one of the hands holding the handprint on the thousand-handed guanyin. In other words, there should be another thousand-handed guanyin. Where there are Buddha statues, there are usually temples or caves. Maybe there is a cave stone chamber nearby that has never been discovered by anyone. If we can find it and get 1 or 2 antiques from it, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't we have the funds to develop the desert in the future? Thinking of this, Cai Hongming's heart became hot, and he planned to ask Sanai to take him to the place where the severed hand was found to see if he could find some clues. Chinese people are always keen on finding treasures, and the elderly are no exception. When Sanai heard that he was going to find something, he immediately nodded in agreement, and Bagan wanted to go with him. So, the village left Wuai and Shashu to look after the house. Cai Hongming packed up, carried a backpack full of food, and some tools such as flashlights, shovels, ropes, etc., and drove Bagan and Sanai to the place where the severed hand was found. Sanai sometimes went a long way to herd sheep, driving the sheep over one mountain after another, and then walked back. Generally, after such a trip, the sheep would be full. Cai Hongming drove at the foot of the mountain. The land at the foot of the mountain was gradually desertified. There were no trees anymore, only some sparse grass. After driving for about 2 hours, they arrived at the foot of a mountain. Sanyi asked him to stop the car, and then the 3 of them got off the car and walked to the sandy land in front. From the desertified land at the foot of the mountain to the sand dunes, they walked for about an hour and came to a wave-like sand dune. Sanyi pointed to the sunken place between 2 sand dunes and said, "That thing was found over there. He got this thing purely by accident. That time he was herding sheep here, and he saw a flash of light on this side of the mountain. He thought it was a treasure, so he ran over to take a look, and found that it was a broken hand. He felt unlucky, and wanted to throw it away, but he couldn't bear to do it, so he took it back." Cai Hongming looked at the place, picked up the shovel and a pointed iron rod he brought and walked down, then inserted the iron rod into the sand, and knocked it down hard with the wooden handle of the shovel. After knocking for a while, the iron rod seemed to have pierced something, and couldn't be inserted. He picked up the shovel and dug at the place where the iron rod was inserted. After a while, he actually dug up a skeleton. The surface of the skeleton was corroded, and it seemed that it had been there for some time. Cai Hongming didn't think too much of himself. After all, he disturbed other people's peace, so he dug him out and found a new place to bury him. He didn't expect that he could find something just by digging casually. Although it was not an antique treasure, it aroused his interest. So he continued to dig down, and after a while, he actually dug up tiles. Not just one, but a pile. Cai Hongming cleaned the place where the tiles were dug and found that the tiles were arranged very neatly, as if it was the roof of a house. He couldn't help but feel strange. So he picked up the tile, and suddenly a black hole appeared underneath. He took a flashlight and shone it inside. Looking at the wall decorations inside the house, it was clearly a Tibetan Buddhist temple. "Hongming, did you find anything?" asked the third master from above. "There seems to be a temple down there." Cai Hongming did not continue to look down, but climbed up the hill and said to the two old men, "Bagang, you and Sanai wait over there by the car. I'll go down and take a look. There should be a Lama temple down there. It's empty inside. If you stay here, I'm afraid the temple will collapse and you'll get stuck inside." "It's okay. I'll take a look over here." Bagan waved his hand and said indifferently, "Forget it. You go wait over there. I'll go in and see if there's anything and come out right away." With that, Cai Hongming pulled the two old men back to the motorcycle, then tied the rope to the beams in the temple and slid into the temple using the rope. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 56, Thousand-Handed Buddha. After sliding down the rope to the ground inside the temple, Cai Hongming realized that it was not the main hall of the temple, but a square corridor outside the main hall for people to rest. Perhaps because it had not seen the sun for too long, the temple was gloomy and exuded a gloomy and terrifying strange atmosphere. Suddenly, he remembered a fatal thing. He forgot to bring a candle. What if there is a lack of oxygen inside? It is said in books and on TV that when going down to a cellar or a tomb, you must first breathe in, let the air circulate inside, and dissipate the foul air. Then take a candle and try to see if it can burn. If it can't burn, you can't go down. How did I get down? Isn't this looking for death? Cai Hongming pulled the rope and was about to climb up, but he felt that there seemed to be no decayed smell of the old house in the temple, and there was no feeling of lack of oxygen. He took a deep breath. Although it was not fresh, there was definitely no lack of oxygen. Only then did he feel relieved, took the flashlight and shone it around, and walked inside. The decoration in the temple is in the style of Tibetan Buddhist temples. He had seen it before, so it should be a Lama temple without a doubt. When he came inside, Cai Hongming found that the temple was empty. To be precise, there was nothing in it except the Buddha statue standing in the middle and the towering Buddha hall. The Buddha statue was very tall, about 10 meters tall, and it was against the roof, with its head slightly lowered, as if looking down at the humblance in front of it. The Buddha statue was not from the Middle Earth, nor was it the thousand-handed Guanyin, because Guanyin had kind eyes and compassion, but the Buddha statue in front of him had his eyes closed and a hideous face. He had only seen this kind of Buddha statue in Thangkas. But it should be a thousand-handed Buddha. The thousand-handed Buddha held various instruments in its hands, and the pair in the front held a vajra for subduing demons, and there was a huge eye inlaid with colored gems on its forehead. There was a broken one in the Buddha's hand, and it seemed that the one that Sanyi picked up should be this one. But I don't know who broke it and took it out, so that the lucky Sanyi picked it up. The pillars in the hall were very large, thick enough to be hugged, and there was no sign of decay when buried underground. Cai Hongming knocked on it and found it very solid. Seeing that there was nothing else in the hall, he took the flashlight and shone it on the Dharma instruments in the hands of the standing Buddha statue. Although the Buddha statue could not be moved, he could make a lot of money if he could take some of the Dharma instruments out to sell. Thinking of this, he walked to the Buddha statue and planned to climb up and take down the Dharma instruments. The flashlight accidentally shone into the giant eye on the forehead of the thousand-handed Buddha statue. Suddenly, a colorful light with charming colors burst out from the giant eye on the forehead of the Buddha statue. Cai Hongming was instantly lost in this colorful light. The platinum dragon seal hanging around his neck was illuminated by this colorful light, and it suddenly changed. A dragon shadow suddenly jumped out of the platinum dragon seal and drilled into the giant eye. Then a bright light came out of the thousand-handed Buddha, and the gold foil on his body peeled off under the light, revealing the flawless white jade Dharma body inside. A loud Buddhist sound rang out. The sound of the Buddha's voice spread into people's hearts, confusing their minds and making them feel tired of the world and detached from life. At this moment, a dragon's roar suddenly sounded in the hall, ruthlessly tearing the Buddha's voice to pieces. The thousand-handed Buddha's brilliant flawless Dharma body slowly dimmed in the dragon's roar. When it was about to dim, a ray of light suddenly burst out from its giant eyes, and the Buddha's voice reappeared. In an instant, a brighter and more brilliant light shone on the hall than before, suppressing the dragon's roar. When the dragon's roar was about to disappear, the platinum dragon seal hanging on Cai Hongming's neck suddenly flew out and hid in the top of the thousand-handed Buddha. In an instant, a dragon's roar louder than before came out, suppressing the Buddha's voice. The Buddha's voice and dragon's roar rose and fell, and finally the dragon's roar prevailed and suppressed the Buddha's voice. After being suppressed by the dragon's roar again, the originally bright thousand-handed Buddha's flawless white jade Dharma body returned to calm and turned grey. At this time, a dragon shadow holding the platinum dragon seal emerged from the giant eye. It can be seen that the dragon shadow is a bit larger than before. The dragon shadow did not quickly return to the platinum dragon seal after it emerged from the giant eye, but flew up around the thousand-handed Buddha. As it flew, a ray of light floated from the thousand-handed Buddha into the dragon shadow. Until there was no more light, the dragon shadow hung on Cai Hongming's neck with the platinum dragon seal in its mouth, and then disappeared. Faintly, the platinum dragon seal seemed to have a spirituality. After the dragon shadow returned to the platinum dragon seal, the lofty thousand-handed Buddha collapsed and turned into a pile of powder. The Vajra pestle in the front and the colorful gems in the giant eye rolled a few times and fell in front of Cai Hongming, who was fascinated by the colorful light of the gems. After the thousand-handed Buddha collapsed, a milky spring suddenly spurted out from where it stood. The jade tripod attached to Cai Hongming's chest moved at this time and suddenly flew out from his chest, covering the spring eye. In a breath, all the spring water was collected by it into the broken cave paradise. The pillars of the main hall were shaken by the force of the collapse of the thousand-handed Buddha. The tightly knit roof tiles on top were shaken to crack, and wisps of yellow sand poured down from the cracks. After absorbing the milky white spring water, the jade tripod flew back to Cai Hongming. And at the location where the milky white spring water had just been sprayed, a stream of clear spring began to slowly emerge. It was not until this moment that Cai Hongming woke up from the charm of the gemstone light. When he saw the thousand-handed Buddha statue turned into powder in front of him, his eyes widened. What is going on? Suddenly, he saw the Vajra pestle held by the thousand-handed Buddha and the gem inlaid with the giant eye on his forehead lying in front of him, and hurried over to pick them up. After looking at it, he thought that he had made a fortune. After putting the two things into the broken paradise and the jade tripod, he took the flashlight and shone it into the hall, intending to look for other magic tools. At this moment, he found that something seemed to be flowing down from above. He looked up and saw that fine sand kept flowing down from the cracks on the roof of the main hall. The thick pillars in the hall seemed to be unable to bear the force because of the age. They began to shake and looked like they would fall down at any time. Cai Hongming felt bad and didn't care about picking up treasures. He turned around and ran away. He came to the place where he came in, grabbed the rope, and climbed up quickly. When he got outside, he ran forward desperately. With a bang, the shaking pillars of the hall finally fell down, and countless yellow sand rushed in. The towering temple was instantly hidden in the yellow sand, and the sand dunes that originally stood above the Buddhist temple were flattened in an instant. If you haven't experienced it, it's hard to imagine that there was a huge temple here. After Cai Hongming ran away, he looked back and saw the sand dunes that had become flat and touched the sweat on his forehead. Fortunately, he ran fast, otherwise he would have been buried. After taking a look, he took out the Vajra pestle from the ruined cave paradise and went to meet up with Bagan and Sanai. Hongming, are you okay? It seems like there was an earthquake just now. Bagang asked with concern. I didn't feel it. Cai Hongming shook his head. I'm glad you're okay. Hey, what is that in your hand? Sanai asked when he saw the Vajra pestle in his hand. Bagang was knowledgeable. Looking at the Vajra pestle, he said, it seems that you have got an incredible treasure. This thing is in the hands of the tall 1,000-armed Buddha statue standing in the main hall, so it is very big, 1 meter long, and quite heavy. Is it valuable? Sanai asked. Of course it is valuable. This thing doesn't need to be so big. Even if it is about 10 centimeters, it can be sold for hundreds of dollars, let alone this big one. But I suggest you don't sell it, because the origin is unclear. And that is a Buddhist temple. Maybe people have records. It will be bad if they are traced. Cai Hongming nodded. Things in Taoist temples are different from other temples. Some temples have records of every stitch and thread, and they may have appeared in similar Buddhist temples. If they are discovered, it will be bad. So even if you get a treasure, you can only appreciate it at home. Thinking of this, Cai Hongming felt depressed. He originally wanted to make a fortune, but it seems that he can no longer hope for it. Chapter 57, The Elongated Vajra Pestle. After returning to Kilian village, Cai Hongming inspected the construction site, where the cement pillars were erected, and then went back to the house to study the Vajra pestle he had found. Vajra pestle, the Tibetan transliteration of Furba pestle, is also known as Karma pestle, named after the Vajra, the deity holding the Vajra pestle. It was originally a kind of ancient Indian weapon, and later it was absorbed by Buddhism, and became a Dharma instrument, and its shape changed. One end of the Vajra pestle looks like a Vajra, and the other end is a 3-edged pointed shape, like a 3-edged pointed cone. There are 3 Buddha heads as handles, one in a smiling shape, one in an angry shape, and one in a scolding shape. It is usually used by the Tantric Buddhists to practice the method of subjugation, to subdue demons and enemies, indicating that it has powerful magic power. In Tibetan Buddhism, this pestle represents the ability to eliminate all sins and obstacles of oneself, purify all the mistakes of samaya, achieve all the common siddhis, eliminate all adverse conditions and obstacles, increase all the good roots of all favorable conditions, and satisfy and delight all male and female enemies and creditors, and eliminate enemies. It also represents the unshakable samadhi, the use of the Tathagata's diamond wisdom, the destruction of the inner demons of ignorance and delusion, and the display of the pure wisdom of the self-nature. The Vajra can be divided into single-pronged, 3-pronged, 5-pronged, 4-pronged, and 4-sided 12-pronged. Generally, the 5-pronged one is more common. In patterns and mandalas, you can often see 2 Vajra pestles vertically crossed in a cross shape, which is called the cross Vajra pestle. The great Tibetan essence, the Vajra pestle, is the meaning of Bodhi-mind, breaking the 2 sides and the Tao. There are 10 great Bodhisattva positions, and it also represents the 10 voids as the Tao. There are 5 prongs on each side, the 5 Buddhas and 5 wisdoms, and it also represents the 10 paramitas that can destroy 10 kinds of troubles. The collection of Dharani Sutras Volume 411 Faced Avalokitesvara Mantra Sutra Summary. If you want to make the practice successful, the 4 corners of the outer courtyard of the altar during the practice should be set up with Vajra pestles crossed like a cross. According to the Tibetan Tantric scriptures, each prong of the Vajra pestle has a different meaning. One cobalt prong is the only Dharma realm, the one true Dharma realm. The 3 prongs represent the equality of the 3 secrets of body, speech, and mind. The 5 prongs represent the 5 wisdoms and 5 Buddhas. The middle prong of the 5 prongs is the real wisdom of the Buddha. The 4 prongs on the outside are the conventional wisdom of the Buddha. The 4 prongs on the outside are bent inward, which means that conventional wisdom must return to real wisdom. The upper and lower ends of the Vajra have the same shape, indicating that the Buddha world and the sentient beings world have the same 5 wisdoms. There is another saying, the prongs of the Vajra represent the Dharma realm body wisdom, which is self-certified by the great Son Tathagata, which is true and straight in the local place without any convenience. The 4 prongs on the outside are bent inward, which means that the 4 wisdoms and 4 Buddhas receive the wisdom and convenience of the great Son Tathagata's local self-certification, and start to teach. The upper and lower ends are the same shape, which means that the living and the Buddha have the same 5 wisdoms. The handle is cast with 4 layers and 8, representing the 4 parameters and the 10 great bodhisattvas, the 8 offerings and the 4 means of attraction. The 4 beads at the 4 corners represent the 4 Buddhas in the 4 directions, and the hidden bead represents the great sun Tathagata. The 8 waists are tied with 2 ropes, representing the 2 methods of concentration and wisdom. In addition, the 4 outer ends of each claw symbolize the shape of a lion's head. The number of claws is 8, indicating the transformation of the 8 consciousnesses into the 4 wisdoms. Holding this pestle is equivalent to abiding in the Vajra wisdom of the Buddha. Cai Hongming held the Vajra pestle and felt that it was quite heavy. Most of the materials of the Vajra pestle are made of 5 color metals such as gold, silver, red copper, iron, and tin. However, due to different practices, the materials used also include gold, silver, copper, sandstone, a mixture of gold, silver, and copper, iron, siripani wood, virupa wood, katara wood, maduga wood, asta wood, harming wood, human bones, crystal, bitter wood, dragon wood, virile wood, heavenly wood, mud, cottonwood, egerwood, wuai wood, amra wood, ishuna wood, willow wood, white sandalwood, firewood, etc. Cai Hongming tried it and felt that the Vajra pestle in his hand should be made of ancient gold, silver, copper, iron and other alloys, otherwise it would not be so heavy. The 3-sided pointed cone at the end of the pestle did not shrink its edge at all because it was hidden underground. It looked extremely sharp. Under the light, it reflected a cold light. He tried to stab the wooden table with the Vajra pestle, and a hole was immediately pierced in the wooden table. According to the Tibetan Tantric scriptures, Vajra pestle has 8 fingers, 10 fingers, 12 fingers, 10, 20 fingers, etc. I don't know how many fingers it has. Buddhism is like this. It is mysterious and won't tell you the exact number, so you can think whatever you want. The Vajra pestle is inlaid with red, blue, yellow, green and other colored gems, which looks extremely luxurious. Cai Hongming couldn't let it go, but it was a pity that he couldn't sell it, otherwise it would probably be very valuable. There is such a huge 1,000-handed Buddha in that Lama temple. I think it should not be unrecorded in similar temples or scriptures. If this thing is sold and someone tracks it down, it will definitely be taken back. It may also lead to the location of the temple. If people know that he destroyed the temple, it will be the end, so he can only admire it himself. But this thing is also good for practice. Cai Hongming picked up the 1-meter long Vajra pestle and waved it. Suddenly, the 2 ends of the Vajra pestle stretched out and instantly became 2 meters long. Cai Hongming was stunned and didn't know why it happened, so he observed it carefully. After a while, he found that there was a green gem embedded in the middle of the Vajra pestle, which was a mechanism button. As long as you press it, the Vajra pestle will automatically stretch out and become about 2 meters long. Press it again, and it will retract. This thing can be used as a spear. He took the extended Vajra pestle upstairs to play with it for a while, and it felt very good. Even if he couldn't sell it, he could use it as a weapon in the future. After playing for a while, he put the Vajra pestle into the broken cave paradise in the jade tripod, and took out the colored gem he found in the Lama temple to look at it. As he was looking at it, he suddenly remembered that when he was in the temple, he would be in a trance and know nothing, only when he saw the colorful light emitted by the colored gemstones. Why is it not shining now? It's really strange. The sunlight outside the window shone into the house through the glass. Cai Hongming took the colored gemstone and looked at it. He inadvertently turned one side of the gemstone to the sunlight. In an instant, the gemstone burst out with a brilliant light, 5 colors, colorful, and transformed into all kinds of scenes, which made people dizzy. For a moment, Cai Hongming was actually confused. His whole mind was in a daze and he didn't know what was going on. At this moment, the platinum dragon seal hanging on his chest suddenly burst out with a dazzling white light, and a dragon roar sounded in his head. Cai Hongming shuddered at the sound of the dragon roar, and suddenly woke up. He took a look at the gemstone, and threw it on the bed in fear. This thing is too weird. Why do I feel dizzy when I look at it, and I don't remember anything? He didn't dare to look at the colored gems anymore, and quickly found a piece of cloth to wrap them up. Put them in the box that used to hold the jade tripod, and put them into the broken paradise in the jade tripod. After dealing with it, he suddenly remembered the voice that just came to his mind. What on earth was going on? He thought about it for a long time, but couldn't come up with a result, so he simply stopped thinking about it. At this time, he thought of another question. There were so many instruments on the tall thousand-handed Buddha in the Lama temple. Why did the people who went in only break off the hand with the seal on the palm and take it out? You know, whether it was the Vajra pestle he held, or the various exquisite instruments held by the thousand-handed Buddha, all of them were more valuable than the Buddha's hand with the seal. After thinking about it, he felt that there must be something wrong with the Buddha's hand, so he went downstairs and planned to ask the third master to take the Buddha's hand for a search. Chapter 58, Seal in Hand. In the house of the third master, people from Kilian village gathered together. Cai Hongming, Bagang, the third master, the fifth master, and Uncle Fool looked at the Buddha's hand picked up by the third master on the table with curiosity. The Buddha's hand was very big, about half a meter long, and about 30 centimeters wide, and the seal on the Buddha's hand was at least 15 centimeters, occupying more than half of the palm, highlighting the hugeness of the seal on the palm. According to what you said, this thing should be strange. Bagan nodded after hearing Cai Hongming's analysis of the Buddha's hand. Although the third master also had this feeling, he looked around and couldn't see the reason at all. As for the fifth master and the silly uncle, they were all just there to watch, and it didn't matter whether they understood it or not. The Buddha's hand was wiped after being picked up by the third master, and it looked very smooth, but there was still dust, so Cai Hongming went to get a roll of paper and wiped it carefully. As he wiped, he suddenly found that the seal on the palm of the Buddha's hand was not connected to the Buddha's hand, and there was a gap between them, which was obviously put in. Cai Hongming grabbed the seal and pulled it, but it didn't move. Thinking of the mechanism button on the Vajra pestle just now, he wondered if there was one on it, so he started looking for it. Unfortunately, he was disappointed. He looked carefully, pressed his fingers all over his palm, and even shook the fingers that were pinching the hand seal vigorously, but there was still no movement, and he felt a little discouraged. Seeing him pressing on the Buddha's hand, the silly uncle also became interested and stretched out his hand to press the seal on the Buddha's palm. Suddenly, there was a click sound, and the seal on the Buddha's palm floated up from the palm. Cai Hongming stared at the silly uncle blankly and didn't say anything for a long time. It is said that fools have foolish luck, and this sentence is really true. When he picked up the seal that floated to his palm, he found that there was actually a layer of white jade cover on the seal. How luxurious it must be to use white jade to cover the seal. After taking a look, he picked up the white jade cover on it and suddenly found that there was a miniature thousand-handed Buddha carved on the seal. The face of the thousand-handed Buddha is the same as the one in the desert Buddhist temple. The thousand hands hold various instruments, and the eyes are closed and looking down, which is lifelike. It takes a lot of exquisite craftsmanship to carve such a thousand-handed Buddha. At this moment, Cai Hongming was stunned by the exquisite craftsmanship of the ancients. Good stuff. Baigong couldn't help but shout after seeing it. Cai Hongming didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What's the use of good stuff? It can't be eaten. This hand seal was brought out of the Lama temple with great effort. There must be something wrong. In religion, this kind of seal is also called Dharma seal. Taoism should be the first to use Dharma seal, because this is a seal carved by the Taoist masters of all generations for the needs of religious rituals, in accordance with the names of the three pure ones and the gods, the titles of the ghost gods and the contents of important Taoist scriptures, imitating the jade seals of emperors and official seals on earth, symbolizing the power and majesty of the gods and spirits in heaven, earth, and the underworld. According to research, long before the formation of Taoism, alchemists and wizards in the Qin and Han dynasties had used seals similar to official seals in activities such as curing diseases, resolving disasters, warding off evil spirits, communicating with gods, and reaching spirits. Later generations called this kind of seal alchemist seal, also known as Taoist seal. According to the ancient seal notes, the use of seals by alchemists in the Qin and Han dynasties was very popular, and they often wore seals such as Yellow God Yuzhang and Heavenly Emperor Messenger on their waists, and quoted historical records, the Annals of Emperor Zhao and the Book of Fengshan as evidence, collectively referred to as alchemist seals. For example, the Annals of Emperor Zhao records that Luan Dajin met Emperor Wu, and Emperor Wu appointed him as General Wu Li, received 4 golden seals, and wore the seals of General Xianxi, General Dishi, General Dating, and General Xiandao. This shows that Emperor Wu granted Luan Daquan the seal, recognizing his power and status to communicate with heaven, earth, ghosts, and gods. In the view of Taoism, the seal represents the authority of the 3 realms of gods and spirits, so the use of seals in practicing the law is like the use of palace seals in the implementation of human administration. Volume 27 of the Southern Song Dynasty Ningquanson's Shanking Lingbao Sutra says, the seal is a token, it is used to seal things. It is also the token held by the rulers. The Han Guanai says, the kings and princes have seals, the second level princes have seals, and the rest are all seals, which are the seals of this world. In the ancient times, people and ghosts were in their own places, and yin and yang were not mixed. Therefore, the use of Taoism can only be seen in practicing Taoism, and practicing the essence, and even in ascending to heaven. Since ancient times, the truth has been slowed down day by day, the right way has been obscured, and the evil and false have been mixed. Therefore, the law was created to save the situation, and the seal was given to express sincerity. The seal is a token of trust. Therefore, the meaning of using a seal is similar to the world, and it is also the rise and fall of Taoism due to time. Volume 1 of Lingbao Yujian also says, the word law means righteousness, which means to correct the evil. It is just like the law of virtue and ritual, which means to make the law uniform. Therefore, the seal of the heavenly palace must be used to show the authenticity of the petitions, letters, and edicts. The seals are passed down by teachers, so that the gods of heaven and earth, the gods of people and the ghosts of people know the law they are practicing, and have received it. Therefore, the seal of the law not only represents the supreme majesty and sacredness of the gods and immortals, but also is a token of the orderly inheritance of various Taoist sects. In other words, the seal in Cai Hongming's hand is most likely a token of inheritance of a sect of Tibetan Buddhism. This can also explain why there are so many good things in the Buddha Hall, but only someone broke this Buddha hand with a seal on the palm. Since it is a heritage item, it is recorded in relevant books, so this exquisite seal with a 1,000-handed Buddha statue engraved on it cannot be sold. Otherwise, if someone comes to the door, it will be a big deal. Selling things related to religious sects will cause a lot of trouble. Without absolute power, no one dares to provoke, let alone ordinary people like Cai Hongming. Therefore, such good things can only be put away and slowly appreciated. Suddenly, Cai Hongming was a little bored. It was meaningless to spend so much energy and not make a penny. So he put the seal back and told the third master to hide it well. Unexpectedly, the third master didn't want it. Although he didn't believe in Buddhism, he felt uncomfortable to have such a hand at home, so he gave it to him. Helplessly, he could only put it away. A few days later, the workers used cement pillars and barbed wire to enclose the 1,000 acres of land that Cai Hongming bought. Seeing that the weather was okay, Cai Hongming asked the excavator to dig a large lake near Kilian village to store water. Although there is no water now, when the snow melts next year, the water will flow down from the mountain, and there will be water in the lake at that time. Then he would bring the spring water from the mountain here. He believed that, even when the weather was hot, it would not dry up so easily. With the lake water for irrigation, there would be no need to worry about water shortage in the short term. Under his instructions, several excavators started digging in the sand. The weather was getting colder and colder, and now it was snowing intermittently. They planned to dig out the lake before the heavy snow came, so as to avoid being unable to work in the cold weather. Chapter 59. Petrified Turtle. Standing on the sand, watching the excavator digging the soil and the lake gradually taking shape, Cai Hongming had a very subtle feeling, just like watching his own child grow up. Perhaps this is the sense of accomplishment of owning your own business. The lake that was finally dug was at least dozens of acres, which occupied a certain number of the desert he bought. However, without such a large lake to store water, it would be impossible to irrigate such a large piece of land. Even with such a lake, he was still very worried about whether the water would be enough during the drought season. The sand on the lakeside was shoveled away by the bulldozer to remove the thick layer of sand on the top, revealing the fertile soil underneath. This piece of land was not originally a desert, but because of the drought, lack of rain and water here, no one cultivated it, so it gradually became barren, and later it was covered by the yellow sand brought by the sandstorm, and it became a desert. Now shovel away the sand on top, put the excavated lake mud on it, and level it a little next year, and this is a good piece of land for farming. According to the old people in the village, there used to be a huge lake here, so the ancestors of Kilian village took root here. But later, for some unknown reason, the lake water decreased year by year, and finally disappeared, which is what it is now. When Cai Hongming dug the lake, he dug it according to the location of the lake in the legend. Facts have proved that there really was a lake here before, because the deeper he dug, the more fertile the soil became, and fish bones, shells, dead branches and other things appeared. The excavator dug down day by day, and the deeper it dug, the more fertile the lake mud it dug out became. Cai Hongming went to see the excavated lake mud, and felt that, no matter what he planted with this lake mud, he would definitely have a good harvest. While digging, an excavator suddenly dug up something. The operator of the excavator thought it was a stone, so he used the excavator to push the stone to the lake. Unexpectedly, after pushing the stone away, water actually came out from below. Cai Hongming saw it and ran down excitedly, picked up a shovel and dug at the place where the water came out. After a few diggings, the water flow became much larger. In just a moment, a small puddle formed at the spring. Cai Hongming was so happy that his mouth cracked. In the desert, water is undoubtedly golden life. With this spring, he no longer has to worry about this land having no water to use. It seems that the lake was not without water before, but the spring was blocked by stones and stopped flowing out, so it slowly dried up. Walking ashore, he looked at the culprit that pressed the spring and found that it did not seem to be a stone. So he ran to the well and fetched a bucket of water to wash it, and suddenly found that the so-called stone actually looked a bit like a turtle shell. This made him very curious, so he asked the excavator to hook the stone that looked like a turtle shell to the side of the well, and then cleaned it. After washing for a long time, the so-called stone finally revealed its entire face, just like a turtle. The appearance of this turtle is like a rock, very hard, and it can't be pierced by anything. It seems to be an old turtle that has died and petrified. This turtle is 2 meters long. If it is alive, it should be the largest turtle in the world. It's a pity that it died. It's really a pity. Cai Hongming put it next to the well first, and when the artificial lake is dug in the future, he will build a high platform and put it by the lake for people to watch as a landmark, and the artificial lake can be called the Shengui Lake in the future. The excavator had dug deep into the turtle area. Cai Hongming saw that it was almost done, so he asked them to stop, settle their wages and leave. In fact, he had many ideas, such as having the excavator push a straight road from the outside to Kilian village. Now he basically had to go around the foot of the mountain to get here, and pushing a road would undoubtedly save a lot of time. Then he would dig terraces on the hillside, surrounded by cement pillars, to grow grass and feed livestock. But all these cost money. He didn't have much money left now. He had to plant trees and grass next year, and the funds were not turning over, so he could only wait until he had money to do it. You have to take one step at a time, so as not to pull your balls with too big a step. The words of the ancestors still make sense. After the Shengui Lake was dug, Cai Hongming had nothing to do in Kilian village, so he planned to go back to the town tomorrow, rest for a while, and then go back to his hometown in southern Fujian. The weather is getting colder day by day, and it's already as cold as -7 or 8 degrees at night. If he hadn't been accustomed to the climate here, and had a down jacket to protect himself, he might have frozen to death long ago. Because he was leaving tomorrow, he had a good meal with a few old people and silly uncles in the evening. Bagang suggested that he kill the big rooster that he forgot to bring back that time, but he refused seriously. Are you kidding? He kept this big rooster for experiments. How could he eat it? Bagging is good in everything, but he gets jealous when he sees other people have good things. It was like this last time with the deer horns, and it was still like this when he saw the big rooster now. It seems that he must bring the big rooster with him this time, otherwise he will be harmed by the old man sooner or later. After dinner, Cai Hongming chatted with the old people for a few words, and returned to his house. Thinking that he had not entered the ruined paradise in the jade tripod for a long time, he locked the door and escaped in As soon as he entered the ruined paradise in the jade tripod, Cai Hongming found something wrong. It felt like the place had become larger. The space inside was about 10 meters before, but now it has become nearly 20 meters. What's going on? Cai Hongming was puzzled. Especially the huge stone in the middle. The surface that used to be mottled and dry has become warm and smooth, like jade, which is really strange. He couldn't believe what he saw, so he reached out and touched the huge stone. The touch was as gentle as water and as delicate as a woman's skin. Is this still the same vicissitudes of life stone? While he was wondering, the huge stone suddenly burst out a ray of light and disappeared between his eyebrows. In an instant, one picture after another came into his mind, which was the scene of Yuding absorbing milky spring water in the Buddhist temple that day. Along with the picture, there was also a message that the milky spring water was actually the essence of the earth. That is, the essence of the land around the Buddhist temple, which was equivalent to 100 times the jade toad liquid. Although it was only absorbed for a while, it was enough for the huge stone to recover, and it could overflow a little bit for the broken cave paradise to absorb. After the huge stone recovers, the jade toad liquid formed by the jade tripod condensing the essence of the bright moon will no longer need to be distributed to the huge stone, and can be directly used to restore the cave paradise. Although the cave paradise cannot be restored to its full appearance, it will change with the increase of spiritual energy. As long as there is enough spiritual energy, the space can become larger, or change into mountains, rocks, trees, flowers, and plants. After receiving the message from the boulder, Cai Hongming finally understood. So that's how it was. No wonder the broken paradise in the jade tripod changed so much. I just didn't expect that so many things would happen in the moment when I was dazed by the colored gemstones that day. It seems that I have to be more careful in everything I do in the future. After looking at the boulder, he turned to look at the green Ganoderma lucidum next to him. Because the boulder has restored its spirituality, the green Ganoderma lucidum has also benefited a little. Thanks to the help of the boulder absorbing the earth's marrow, it has now grown to his knees. The handle is thick and the cover is big enough to be hugged. It is about half a meter long and covered with cloud patterns. The color changes from green to jasper. The green Ganoderma lucidum should be called Jasper Ganoderma lucidum. The cover of the Jasper Ganoderma lucidum stretches out, just like a painted umbrella covering the small green Ganoderma lucidum below. The small green Ganoderma lucidum grows very fast. From just emerging to the length of a little finger now, it can be said that it grows very fiercely. If it is given some more time, maybe it can be used as medicine. After seeing the Ganoderma lucidum, Cai Hongming came to the purple gourd planted on the side. Originally, he wanted to plant the purple gourd in his backyard, but after discovering the effect of the gourd wine in the purple gourd, he dared not do it. If such a magical thing is planted outside and picked by people, it would be a disaster. Suddenly, he was surprised to find that a few purple flowers had bloomed on the purple gourd vine, and it seemed that gourds were about to grow. Cai Hongming was very happy to see it. After discovering the effect of gourd wine, he wished it would grow more. After taking a walk inside, he found that there was nothing to see, so he left the paradise in the jade tripod. Chapter 60. Foreign Monk. Please click, recommend, and collect. The moonlight in late autumn is unusually cold, light, and soft, like flowing water, pouring quietly into the room through the window. It has been snowing recently, and the sky is hazy. The moon has not been seen for several days. It turns out that on a day without the moon, it is difficult or even impossible for the jade tripod to absorb the essence of the bright moon, so Cai Hongming wants to find a cover to bring him out of the mountains and carve the black jade into a gourd to see if he can put the jade toad liquid in it. Otherwise, if there is no moon in the sky for 10 days or half a month in the future, he will not have the jade toad liquid for a long time. After looking at the moon in the sky, Cai Hongming took out the jade tripod and let it absorb the essence of the bright moon. He also took off the platinum dragon seal hanging around his neck and planned to put it on the jade tripod to let it enhance the jade tripod's absorption of the bright moon essence. Just when he touched the platinum dragon seal, he suddenly felt that the dragon seal seemed to have changed and became a little more spiritual. Looking closely, he found that the eyes of the dragon head holding the seal and looking up to the sky seemed to become smart without the dull feeling of the dead object before. Out of curiosity, he reached out to touch it, and his fingers accidentally touched the teeth on the dragon's mouth, which made him bleed. The blood flowed and spilled on the dragon's body. What bad luck. I remember that I was also stabbed by the dragon's teeth last time, and it was the same this time. It seems that I have to be more careful in the future. He hurriedly went to the drawer to get the plaster to apply. He didn't realize that all the blood spilled on the dragon's body was absorbed by the platinum dragon seal. A blood light was nurtured inside the dragon seal, and there was a hint of vitality. The special plaster used by Cai Hongming's family to treat traumatic injuries has a very good effect on hemostasis and muscle growth, so when he was injured, he never used the band-aids on the market, but always used his own plaster. Although the plaster was a bit ugly, it was much more effective than those. After applying the plaster and wrapping it with cloth, he carefully picked up the platinum dragon seal and placed it on the jade tripod to let it enhance the jade tripod to condense the essence of the bright moon. Who knew that, as soon as his hand touched the platinum dragon seal, a cool breath passed from it to his arm and went straight to his brain. In a trance, a series of images appeared in his mind. By a river, a group of foreign monks dressed in ancient costumes commanded a group of people to pick up wood from the river and carry it to a flat land on the riverside, where a temple was built. The foreign monks looked strange, with 2 rings on their ears, yellow cloth on their bodies, curly hair and beards. They did not look like Chinese people, but more like monks from ancient India who came to the country to spread Buddhism. The picture passed by quickly like a silent movie. In just a moment, Cai Hongming saw the picture change, and the temple was built, turning into the Buddhist temple he saw in the desert. Then, a grand inauguration ceremony began, and hundreds of foreign monks kept chanting with their backs to the thousand-handed Buddha. The picture changed and came outside. It was sunny and sad outside, the river turned bloody, and the waves were flying and surging abnormally. But this did not hinder the start of the celebration. On the contrary, the speed of the foreign monks chanting in the temple became faster. After a long time, the waves subsided, the sad wind and blood faded, the temple inauguration ceremony ended, and the Buddhist temple stood forever by the river. But for some reason, such a large temple is rarely visited. The scene was spun, and another incomprehensible scene appeared in an instant. Somehow, the river stopped flowing. Without the river water to irrigate the surrounding land, it was extremely dry. Gradually, the surrounding vegetation died, the soil became desertified, and the wind and sand swept in, covering the loess on top. It no longer had the previous color, and turned into a desert. After the river stopped flowing, the temple sank year by year for some unknown reason, and was finally covered by yellow sand without a trace. At this time, the scene turned again. A foreign monk came to the sinking ground of the temple, dug a hole and crawled in, broke off the Buddha's hand that was picked up by the third master and ran out. Unfortunately, for some reason, he fell on the sand when he came out and never got up again. Next, he was in the Buddha hall. The scene ended here, and Cai Hongming woke up, and the scenes just now were reflected in his mind one by one. He felt very strange. What was going on with those pictures? Could it be that those scenes just now were the past and present lives of the Buddhist temple he visited? But why did they enter his mind? Cai Hongming was puzzled. He picked up the platinum dragon seal and looked at it carefully, but he couldn't figure it out, so he had to give up. With nothing to do, he picked up the text messages and started sending them. Since they went to watch the stars together that night, the relationship between him and Shiwana has heated up rapidly, just like a man and a woman who had fallen in love. They feel uncomfortable if they don't call or send messages for a day. After sending for a while, he looked up at the time and found that it was already past 1 o'clock. The time passed so quickly. It was already so late after just sending a few messages. Cai Hongming shook his head, not understanding it. He sent a goodnight message to Shiwana and went to bed. The next morning, he packed up his things to go back to his hometown and drove back to town with the big rooster in his arms. He returned to the backyard and put the big rooster down. Luan Feng was working in the backyard. Seeing the big rooster, her eyes lit up and she asked, "Hongming, are you going to kill the big rooster to eat?" Cai Hongming felt a pain in his teeth. He thought to himself, what's wrong with these people? They just want to fight and kill all day long. Can't they be more peaceful? Afraid that his mother would really kill a chicken, he hurriedly said, "Mom, this is a rooster I raised specially for crowing. You can't eat it." Oh. Seeing that it was not brought back to eat, Ma Luanfeng didn't feel like asking anymore. She shook her head and said, "It's a pity not to eat such a big rooster." Cai Hongming was speechless. What else could he say? The big rooster is now much bigger than before. Its colorful wings are bright and its red crown is like blood. It looks majestic. Standing in front of the chicken coop, compared with the chickens inside, it feels like a crane standing out from the flock. No wonder Beigong and his mother wanted to kill it and eat it. If he didn't want to keep it for experiments, he would have killed it. The backyard of the house is very large, so Cai Hongming's mother did a lot of work. Raising chickens, ducks, and growing vegetables. He did everything. He had raised pigs before, but they were too smelly, so he stopped after a few times. He had also raised rabbits and nutrias, but they died because their feces and urine were too smelly, or they were not fed properly. Now he only raises chickens, ducks, and grows vegetables. It is better to raise chickens and ducks. No matter how you raise them, they will not die suddenly, and they don't smell very bad. At least in the summer, the smell of feces will not drift to the front. He and his father also hope that his mother will raise ducks and chickens, because these can be raised for a long time and can be eaten at any time, unlike other things. I remember one year his mother raised rabbits, and she raised a large litter, and then she gave birth to many more. This thing cannot be raised for a long time, because it will grow more and more, and his mother never thought of selling it for money. So, at that time, the family ate rabbit meat and drank rabbit soup every day. In the end, even the feces smelled like rabbits. Cai Hongming and his father were fed up with rabbits, and they wanted to vomit when they smelled them. After saying a few words to his mother, Cai Hongming went upstairs with the things he brought from Kilian village. After putting the things down and going downstairs to the lobby, he saw Sangna playing on the computer in the medicine cabinet. The barbecue stall was no longer doing business, so Sangna changed to help out in the clinic. She usually helped sweep the floor, cleaned the place, and sold some medicine. She would go to help out again when the barbecue stall opened next year. As for the fat boy Su Kancheng, he went home, but Cai Hongming still paid him a salary every month. He didn't let him be idle. After he left, he would drive a four-wheeled motorcycle to Kilian village every 5 days to visit Bagan and the others. Although there was a phone there, and he could call here if he had anything, there were only a few old people and a fool there, after all, which made people feel uneasy. So every time he went home, he would arrange for the fat boy to go over and take a look. Chapter 61. Singing the National Anthem. Brother Hongming is back. Yeah. Songna called him affectionately when she saw him coming back. Cai Hongming smiled and said a few words to her, then looked at the window behind the medicine cabinet. His family is a bone setting and massage clinic, so they sell orthopedic plasters such as blood circulation and blood stasis, swelling and pain relief, anti-inflammatory and hemostasis, bone setting and tendon repair, and necrosis and muscle regeneration. There are also some more common plasters for treating dizziness, mosquito bites, bone spur hyperplasia, rheumatoid arthritis, sore throat, cough, and hemorrhoids. Most of them are external medicines, and very few are taken internally. In addition to selling homemade plasters, the store also sells some precious medicinal materials such as wolfberry, ginseng, cordyceps sinensis, and Cistanche desserticola for nourishing and maintaining health. Cai Hongming took a look and found that the dragon bone ointment he had made with dragon bone powder a while ago was sold out. He remembered that there were still some left, so he asked Sangna next to him, "Sangna, has anyone come to buy dragon bone ointment recently?" "Yes. Brother Zing came a few days ago and bought all the remaining ointment." Sangna said with her beautiful chin raised. This guy, why did he buy so much? It's impossible for him to grow so much at once. He said he bought it as a gift. Rich people are stupid. Cai Hongming didn't know what this brother's hobby was. I heard people say that he gave away cars and houses and money, but I didn't hear anyone say that he gave away ointments. Could it be that all his friends have hemorrhoids? I couldn't understand it and shook my head. It seems that this ointment is really effective, otherwise he wouldn't have bought all of it back. Since it has such a good effect, it's a pity to use dragon bone powder to make ointment. I'll look through the book in a few days and make a recipe for a plaster for tendon and bone repair to see the effect. After looking at it, he thought of the land he bought and the trees he was going to plant next year. So he searched the internet to see if there was a large nursery near Liangzhou so he could go and have a look. He found a few and felt that they were good, but the information on the internet was not accurate after all. He still had to go and see it in person. He looked at the time and found that it was still early, so he called the owner of the nursery to make an appointment and then told his family and drove to Liangzhou on a four-wheeled motorcycle. It takes more than an hour to drive from Ginong to Liangzhou, but Cai Hongming drove very fast and arrived in less than an hour. When he arrived at the place, he made a phone call and the owner of the nursery came to take him to see the saplings. After a while, he arrived at the nursery. There were a variety of saplings in the nursery, all of which were suitable for planting in the northwest region, including common wolfberries, camphor pines, Qinghe spruce, weeping willows, red willows, locust trees, etc. But Cai Hongming was not here to buy these things. He had already planned to plant Achnathorum splendens in the large desert land in front of the 1,000-acre land he bought. Behind Achnathorum splendens was planted a larxylan amodendron, and behind that was a forest of giant cacti, and at the end was a forest of poplars. Behind the poplars was the land for farming. Achnathorum splendens was used to consolidate the sand and stop the sand on the ground from flowing. Larxylan amodendron also had this function, and when it grew up it could be used to block the invasion of wind and sand. But the most important thing was that the roots of larxylan amodendron could parasitize Cystinch desiticola. Cystinch desiticola was very expensive now, and when larxylan amodendron grew up and was used to parasitize Cystinch desiticola, it would be a considerable income. Planting giant cacti behind larxylan amodendron was purely for appreciation. Imagine driving in the endless desert and suddenly seeing a cluster of tall giant cacti standing in the distance. How shocking that feeling would be. But the climate in Ginong is not very suitable for growing cacti. It is okay in summer, but in winter, the temperature can reach -30 degrees Celsius, which is far beyond the range that cacti growing in hot areas can withstand. Fortunately, there is jade toad liquid. Cai Hongming wants to use it to try to enhance the cold resistance of the giant column cactus. It is thought that jade toad liquid can bring the dying crystal scorpion back to life and turn the little rooster into a lively and powerful big rooster. It should have this ability, but everything will be clear after the experiment. It is too early to make a conclusion now. The poplar forest planted after the cactus is used to resist wind and sand, so as to prevent the land behind from being covered by sand blown by the wind when things are planted. He has actually already noticed this, that is, to dig out the poplars surrounding Kilian village and plant them outside, and then buy some saplings. The sandy land in front of the village will become a field in the future, used to grow vegetables, rice, and feed livestock. There is no need to worry about wind and sand, so there is no need to use poplars as windbreaks. Knowing that Cai Hongming wanted to buy saplings of larxylan amodendron and Populus euphratica, the nursery owner took him to the place where larxylan amodendron and Populus euphratica were cultivated. In just a moment, a forest of larxylan amodendron and Populus euphratica appeared in front of him, both large and small. Small larxylan amodendron saplings are not very expensive, only a few cents. Populus euphratica is a little more expensive. A 2-year-old one costs a few dollars, and the price will increase with each additional year. Cai Hongming wanted to buy the larger larxylan amodendron and Populus euphratica, but the price was even higher. However, he did not want to plant them now, but in the spring, so he talked to the owner about it. Seeing that he wanted to buy so many saplings, the nursery owner gave him a discount. Cai Hongming felt that the price was acceptable, so he paid a deposit and asked him to be ready so as not to wait until next year when he wanted to plant, but there were no saplings. After paying, Cai Hongming tried to ask again, "Do you have giant column cactus here?" "Giant column cactus? I haven't heard of it." The nursery owner shook his head. "The weather here is cold, and cactus can't survive outdoors, so it can only be grown indoors." Cai Hongming was just asking. The temperature that cactus can withstand is -15 degrees Celsius. It will freeze to death above that, so no one grows cactus outside here. Of course, there are still people who grow small ones indoors. It seems that if you want to buy giant column cactus, you have to go to the south. He remembered that there was a flower and tree market in his hometown. After deciding on the seedlings to be used next year, Cai Hongming drove back. After running this way, he returned home at around 4 or 5 o'clock, but it was already dark and hazy. "You wimpy chicken, if you dare to run to the front again, believe it or not, I will chop you up." As soon as he returned home, Cai Hongming heard a loud shout from inside, and then saw a big rooster clucking and flapping its wings, and flying out of the house, chasing his mother with a stick. "Mom, what's wrong?" This broken chicken ran to the front. "Hongming, why not kill it and eat it? What's the point of keeping it pooping everywhere all day?" "Mom, I worked so hard to raise it to this size. It would be a pity to kill it. Let's keep it." Cai Hongming persuaded his mother to give up the idea of killing the chicken with kind words. After his mother left, he turned around to look at the rooster, only to find that the guy had already run into the chicken coop, majestically stepping on a big hen and singing the national anthem loudly. Oh my god, Cai Hongming didn't know what to say. Couldn't this guy be more reserved? Chapter 62. First Kiss. At night, Cai Hongming drank some water jade toad liquid as usual, sat cross-legged on the bed, and practiced the taoist. Taoist is actually divided into 3 levels. The first level is the simplest, just draw the fresh air through the nose and send it directly to the danshan yuan below the navel. At this time, the air you inhale should be temporarily stored in the danshan, and then the air should be led by the mind, passing through the perineum, entering the coccyx, and from the jiaji shuangguan kidney gate, all the way up to the yazhanguan at the back, and penetrate into the niwending. This is the first level of guiding. The gold silk and yellow silk say that if you practice it for a long time, you can get rid of diseases and prolong your life, and you will not have any diseases and will be healthy. The second level is more difficult. You need to draw the air through the nose and then exhale from the pores. The third level is the highest level of the taoist. You need to suppress the air below the navel. Keep the spirit in the body, not breathe in or out, like a baby in the mother's womb, so that the spirit and air can be combined and transformed into a mysterious fetus, which is the real fetal breathing. At Cai Hongming's current level, it is simply wishful thinking to achieve not breathing in or out, so he is still wondering at the first level. As he breathed, Cai Hongming felt calm, as if he had no body or mind, and entered a state of confusion, obscurity, and oblivion. Suddenly, his true spirit moved, and a trace of gas appeared in his danshan. Feeling this, Cai Hongming's mind moved slightly, and the gas quickly dissipated. He quickly calmed his mind, and did not dare to act recklessly. After a while, the gas appeared again. Cai Hongming knew what it was, and remembered the record on the golden silk. The spell in his hand changed, and his mind moved slightly. He inhaled the air into his body through his nose, to warm the slight gas in his danshan. After a while, he felt that the gas had grown a little bigger. He quickly reached out, and drank the remaining water-mixed jade toad liquid next to him, and continued to sit cross-legged on the bed to practice. Over the night, the gas, which was smaller than a cow's hair, had grown a lot bigger under his slow nourishment. Drink. Opening his eyes, Cai Hongming blew out the waste gas from his mouth, and the joy on his face was beyond words. When he was a kid, he envied the kung fu of breaking rocks with his hands when watching TV, so he thought about practicing Kigen. Who knew that he found a few books on Kigen to practice, but apart from a few stinky farts, he didn't see any trace of Kigen, so he threw away all those books. He didn't expect that he had practiced a lot before, but he felt the existence of Ki last night. This is the real internal Ki, although it is only a little bit, but it is better than nothing. When he got up and brushed his teeth, he stood in front of the mirror and found that there was a layer of oil on his face and neck. He didn't know until he saw it. He was shocked to find that his whole body was covered with such dirt, so he quickly turned on the hot water to take a shower. Recently, he drank the water-diluted jade-toad liquid to practice the fetal breathing sutra, and sometimes dirt was discharged from his body, but it was never like today. It seems that it was because of the condensation of ki yesterday. I don't know if this can be considered a successful practice. After taking a shower and standing in front of the mirror again, he found that he seemed to have become handsome again. The pits and scars on his face, left by squeezing acne, have disappeared a lot, almost disappearing. His face has also become whiter and tenderer, and he really has the potential to develop into a pretty boy. He was thinking lustfully, if he became handsome, how could other men survive? Hongming, what are you doing in there? You haven't come out for a long time. Did you get swallowed by the toilet? Just as he was thinking lustfully, he suddenly heard his mother's call outside. This mother can't let people have some peace and quiet early in the morning, especially at the critical time of looking in the mirror in the morning. He had no choice but to respond. Mom, why are you calling me so early in the morning? Wana has to go back to class today. Don't you go to see her off? It turned out to be about this matter. Cai Hongming hurriedly said, no, Wana said yesterday that she will take a car directly to the airport, so I don't need to see her off. No wonder you can't get married. You can't even see that she is embarrassed. Come out quickly, put on your clothes, and see her off. I'll wait for you downstairs. After saying that, Milu Unfeng ran downstairs with a bang 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 bang. Cai Hongming really didn't know what to say to his mother. The two of them had talked on the phone last night. Anyway, there was no point in sending someone a gift if they just took a car to the airport, and he couldn't accompany her on the plane. He really didn't understand what this old lady was thinking, but he had no choice. His mother was used to being domineering at home. If he didn't obey, he would be in trouble later. He hurriedly got dressed and went downstairs. Milu Unfeng had been waiting downstairs for a long time. When she saw him coming down, she glared at him and said, you are so slow in putting on your clothes. The gold outside has been picked up by others. You are still wearing this wrinkled dress. Why don't you change your clothes? I tell you, Wana is waiting for you at home. Cai Hongming looked at the clothes and felt that they were not bad. Why change? You have to change clothes to send someone off. Are you kidding me? However, under the stare of his mother's two huge eyes, he had to change his clothes. Wana's family is also in the town, but after his father was promoted to the city, he was allocated a house there, so he came back less often. But he didn't sell the house here, so he kept it for when he came back. When Cai Hongming arrived at her house, he saw her putting her luggage in the hall and sitting on the sofa playing games boredly. Here you are. Seeing Cai Hongming coming, she quickly put away her phone. Are you leaving? Yeah. Wana nodded slightly. The car was waiting downstairs. If she hadn't been waiting for Cai Hongming, she would have left long ago. Cai Hongming picked up the luggage and carried it downstairs. Wana followed behind with a small bag. It snowed in the morning and everything was white. The car was driving on the road. Wana looked outside and she didn't know what she was thinking. What are you thinking about? Nothing. I just feel that time has passed so fast. We were still studying before, but now we have all grown up. Yes. You used to be fat like a pumpkin, but now you have become so slim and beautiful. If you hadn't told me who you were, you would have beaten me to death and I would never have thought that you were the fat woman sitting in front of me. Cai Hongming said half jokingly and half emotionally. You still said it. Hearing Cai Hongming mentioning what she looked like when she was studying again, Wana raised her fist in shame and anger and hit him. Cai Hongming reached out and grabbed her fist. She tried to pull it back, but it didn't work after a long time. She had to let him hold it, and slowly her fingers crossed and held it tightly. The driver in front looked at her with a playful look on his face. The road from Ginong to Wuwei looks long, but it's actually very short. In Wana's opinion, it will be there in a moment. There is actually no distance between the road, only the length of love sickness. Some people say that only after knowing each other, and then falling in love, can it be true love. But Cai Hongming calculated that except for knowing each other, they can't say they love each other. I don't know if it's love. If I don't talk to her at night, I can't sleep all night, tossing and turning. But whether it's love or not, he has already identified her. Even if he doesn't want to, his mother probably won't let him go. According to gossip, his mother is already discussing the engagement with her mother. When they arrived at the airport, after passing the inspection, Cai Hongming could no longer see her off and could only watch her walk in silently. Xiwan looked back at her, bit her lower lip with her pearly teeth, and suddenly made a shocking move. She ran to Cai Hongming, kissed him lightly on the lips, and then ran in quickly. Cai Hongming didn't expect her to do this, and was stupid for a moment. After a while, he came to his senses. Suddenly, he thought of a very serious matter. His first kiss was gone. He was actually taken away by a woman in public. How can he live as a man? The plane took off. Xiwana sat in her seat, thinking of her impulse just now. She couldn't help but slap her already blushing cheeks, thinking what happened to her. How could she do such a shameful thing? He wouldn't think he was too frivolous. Turning her head to look out the window, she seemed to see a figure looking up in the snow. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 63, The Stinky Fragrance. In a few days, he would return to his hometown in southern Fujian, so after sending Xiwana back, Cai Hongming began to pack his luggage. Miluan Feng saw this and came over to help pack, adding some things by the way, packing the things she bought to take back to honor the elders and give to relatives and younger generations. In the end, there were 3 large bags that were more than half a person tall, not including Cai Hongming's own suitcase, which made him dumbfounded. Mom, what are you doing? Why are you stuffing everything in there? How can I take it back? Cai Hongming was speechless. Don't say such nice things. In the end, you still asked the logistics company to take them back. Don't think I don't know what you are up to. You are so young, and you are crying and shouting for taking some things. When your father and I came to the Northwest, we carried a bag on our backs, a bag in front of us, one in our left hands, and one in our right hands. We didn't cry like you. These are all things to take back to your grandpa, second uncle, and aunt. You are so heartless. They took care of you so much when you were a child, but you don't know how to be grateful. Miluan Feng began to talk about the revolutionary history of her and Cai Xianfu's hard struggle in the Northwest and criticized Cai Hongming's laziness with hatred. I didn't expect that I would get a lecture from my mother after saying just one sentence. I wouldn't have said it if I had known. Cai Hongming looked at his father who was sitting next to him making tea sadly. Cai Xianfu was leisurely drinking tea with his legs crossed. He didn't look here at all, for fear of causing trouble. This father, his life is destined to be suppressed by his mother. Can't he see that his son is suffering here? They all don't know how to lend a helping hand. Cai Hongming secretly complained about his father, and when his mother said she was tired, he quickly and sincerely admitted his mistake and patted his chest to bring the things back, which made his mother's face look much better. The fact was, just as his mother expected. After everything was packed, he shipped the things to Liangzhou City and entrusted them to logistics. He was too lazy to carry such a large pile of things with him. He could have put these things into the paradise in the jade tripod and brought them back, but in this way, many things could not be explained. When he finally went back, he only carried a loose backpack. This made his mother very upset, and she told him about the difficult history when she came to the Northwest before and bombarded him again. Fortunately, Cai Hongming has a relatively high psychological quality, otherwise he would have been scolded. Before leaving, he specifically told the fat boy Su Kancheng to remember to go to Kilian village to see Bagang and others, and then get on the car to Liangzhou airport. On the plane, through the window, there is a blue sky outside, and white clouds pass by the window, like naughty children playing around the plane. Sitting next to Cai Hongming is a pretty girl with light makeup on her face, wearing a pair of big sunglasses, reading a magazine. Cai Hongming took a breath. and felt a faint fragrance coming into his nose. He neither hated it nor liked it. It was a good journey to have a beautiful woman accompany him. This time, he did not fly directly to his hometown, but went to Yangzhou to find someone to carve the black jade brought down from the mountain into a gourd, and then went to see Shiwana before going home. Yangzhou jade carving has always been famous all over the world, especially for carving gourds. Although the jade carving in his hometown of Fujian province also occupies a place in the domestic jade carving market, the gourd carving is far less sophisticated than that of the masters in Yangzhou. Just as he was thinking about things, a strong fragrance suddenly wafted over, and then someone said next to him, "Sir, can we change seats?" Cai Hongming turned around and saw that it was a woman. After a quick glance, he found that the woman's face was covered with white powder as thick as a city wall, and she was wearing monkey-like blush. She was spraying a strong perfume that smelled like urine or something else. It was so smelly that people could hardly breathe. He couldn't help but move his head away from the woman. He looked at the girl sitting next to him who was wearing light makeup. Compared with this woman, they were like heaven and earth. He couldn't help but roll his eyes and said, "Do you think I can do it?" "What kind of eyes?" The woman felt that she was despised in an instant. She angrily pulled out a few hundred yuan bills from her wallet and said, "I think you can do it." Cai Hongming glanced at her with the corner of his eye without raising his head and said lightly, "Do you think I look like someone who is short of that 500 yuan?" The woman's expression was slightly choked when she heard the words. Yes, would someone who can afford to take a plane take the 500 yuan seriously? She felt a little discouraged. "But," Cai Hongming said again. "But what?" The woman said in secret hatred. "Everything has a price, the only difference is high or low. It's not impossible to change seats. 10,000 yuan, I will change with you for 10,000 yuan." "But," Cai Hongming looked up and looked her up and down and said, "But I don't think you can come up with 10,000 yuan, so forget it." Cai Hongming waved his hand and told the woman to go away quickly like chasing a fly. The woman was almost furious. Her eyes were wide open, her nostrils moved slightly, as if she was about to spit fire. Now she no longer felt contempt, but more serious than contempt. She swore that no one had ever treated her like this. She angrily opened her wallet, grabbed a stack of money that had not been opened yet, and slapped it into Cai Hongming's palm, roaring, "Get out. Go." The woman originally said to get out, but finally swallowed it back. Cai Hongming was just looking for a reason to let this woman go away, but he didn't expect that she was really stupid enough to take out 10,000 yuan to exchange for a seat. There was 10,000 yuan to earn. What reason did he have to refuse? If such good things happened every time, he would like to fly every day, which is much more profitable than selling barbecue. At %x at %* and percent and then sitting down, the woman looked at Cai Hongming who had exchanged seats with him, mumbling something in her mouth, and no one knew what she was saying. "Why did you really give him money?" the girl with light makeup asked the woman after he left. "How can I not give it? At first glance, this guy is a sneaky and wretched person. Who knows if he will be one of those unscrupulous tabloid reporters. If he secretly takes some indecent pictures, you will be finished. Oh, it's all my fault. If I had booked the flight earlier, it wouldn't have been like this. It's better not to let me see this guy in Yangzhou, otherwise I have to find someone to teach him a lesson." The woman looked back at Cai Hongming and said hatefully, "He actually doesn't have any bad intentions." The girl with light makeup said something fair. "He didn't have any bad intentions. After taking 10,000 yuan from me, you've become stupid because of studying too much." The woman rolled her eyes at her. Seeing that she was angry, the girl with light makeup did not talk about it anymore and turned to other topics. Cai Hongming had become sharp-eyed and sharp-eared since practicing the ancient guiding technique Taoist Sutra. He heard the conversation between the two, but did not care. He took the 10,000 yuan and counted it, pretending to put it in his pocket, but actually put it into the paradise in the jade tripod, and then leaned back in his seat and dozed off. At this time, the plane rushed into the sky and flew forward, which was the beginning of a journey. Chapter 1 Yangzhou Skinny Horse. Speaking of Yangzhou, many people will think of Li Bei's Yangzhou in March with fireworks and another sentence with a waste of 100,000 taels of gold, riding a crane to Yangzhou. Then, they will think of Yangzhou skinny horses. Perhaps for some people, it is easier to think of Yangzhou skinny horses than to think of ancient poems. Yangzhou skinny horses are not horses, but people. Skinny horses are not difficult to understand, that is, thin and weak horses, and the so-called Yangzhou skinny horses are women with a slender and weak appearance, or charming and graceful girls. In the old days, women were despised, and were seen as goods, that could be bought, and sold at will in the eyes of many people. Not to mention the past, even in the 1950s and 1960s, there were parents who gave their children away at will, and they didn't pay, they were free. People at that time were poor, and had to give their children away, but Yangzhou skinny horses were not like that. In ancient times, Yangzhou was the settlement of salt merchants from Lianghui, South Huaibi. At that time, salt merchants were extremely wealthy and lived a luxurious life comparable to that of the royal family. Their wealth thus supported a large number of industries that depended on them for survival, and raising thin horses was one of them. In the old days, there was a very strict identification procedure for selecting thin horses, and the most important thing for merchants was the evaluation of the thin horse's feet. There was also a very detailed method for identifying the 3-inch golden lotus feet, and some people even formulated 7 standards for this purpose: thin, small, pointed, curved, fragrant, soft, and straight. The strictness of the selection was like today's beauty pageant. Compared with that time, the selection of flight attendants today is simply scum. Most of the thin horses were children with beautiful faces bought from poor families. After these people were bought back, they would be divided into different levels. Girls with first-class qualifications would be taught piano, chess, calligraphy, and painting, and all kinds of tricks. This kind of girl, every frown and smile, must strictly conform to the buyer's aesthetic taste. For example, when walking, one should be gentle and not make any noise. When looking at people, one should be affectionate and not look sideways. When speaking, one should speak softly and softly, like pearls falling on a jade plate, and not speak coarsely. A girl of second-class aptitude will be taught to read and play music, and to keep accounts and manage affairs. A girl of third-class aptitude will not be taught to read, but will only be taught some skills such as needlework, cutting, frying, steaming, and cooking. The skinny horses raised in this way can be sold quickly, and at a good price. In the ancient city of Yangzhou, there were hundreds of people who traded skinny horses like livestock dealers. Among these people, there are middlemen who specialize in the livestock trade, and even brothels. Brothels are middlemen who specialize in the livestock trade. They cannot make money in the livestock trade, so they come to the skinny horse business. Moreover, the market for this skinny horse trade is promising and profitable. Merchants are looking for profit, so they naturally flock to it. Once the news that a merchant wants to buy a skinny horse spreads, these middlemen and brothels will target the buyer, just like flies attached to the smell of meat, unable to be swatted away. At that time, the skinny horses of Yangzhou were comparable to the women of Datong, the nuns of Mount Te, and the boat girls of Hangzhou, who were called the 4 wonders of Qinhui. The skinny horses at that time could be said to be the beauties of today, or even the title of the best beauties. You know, not just anyone can be called a skinny horse. What if it is a fat person? Should it be called a fat colt? Question mark? Cai Hongming did not go directly to the jade carving master he had contacted after getting off the plane, but rented an off-road vehicle first. The black jade he dug from the mountain was very large, and he had to have a place to put it, otherwise it would be difficult to take it out. An off-road vehicle was the best choice. After renting the car, it was already noon, so he went to have a full meal first. There are many delicacies in Yangzhou, but Cai Hongming's favorite is crab roe soup dumplings. In this city full of ancient flavor, finding an alley, eating soup dumplings, and listening to Yangzhou Pinghua is undoubtedly a very enjoyable thing. After dinner, he took out the black jade from the cave paradise in the jade tripod, and put it on the off-road vehicle, and then drove to the jade carving master's house. The jade carving master's surname is Yu and his name is Fi Hang. Like him, he has a bird character in his name, and is in his 40s. He found this master on the internet, and he didn't know how skilled he was. He had to see it this time. Yuffie Hang's home is on the edge of a canal. It is a 3-story antique building. Cai Hongming had already seen all of this clearly using satellite maps. When he arrived at the place, he made a phone call, and Yuffie Hang came out to answer it. The two had chatted on questions and recognized each other. Yuffie Hang was in the jade carving business and had received all kinds of people. Seeing that he drove an off-road vehicle, he asked him to drive the car to the back garage. "Master Yu, take a look. This is the jade I want you to carve a good with." After parking the car, Cai Hongming opened the back door of the car to reveal the black jade inside and said. The light was a little dim, so Yuffie Hang took a strong flashlight and looked at the black jade. After looking at it, he couldn't help but take a breath. This jade is moist and pure, with a brilliant light inside. It must be the best jade. He thought he was seeing things, so he quickly found a forklift to fork the black jade brought by Cai Hongming to a sunny place. After looking at it carefully, he found that it was the same as what he had just seen. Suddenly, he remembered what Cai Hongming wanted to carve, and he felt a toothache. Such a large black jade is most suitable for carving large pieces. It would be a pity to use it to carve goods. After thinking it over again and again, he asked Cai Hongming, "Do you really want to carve a good?" Cai Hongming nodded. "I wonder when Master Yu will be able to carve it. Are you in a hurry?" "No, I would like you to carve a good first to see how it works, and then decide whether to carve the remaining black jade into a good." "Okay, but I tell you, it would be a pity to carve this jade into a good. It's better to carve it into a large piece, so that it will be valuable." "No need, Master Yu. I have said before that I want to carve the good into a hollow one, so that things can be put inside. I wonder if Master Yu can do it." Cai Hongming used the black jade to carve a good mainly to try if it could hold the jade-toad liquid. How could he listen to him? Seeing that he would not listen to his advice, Yuffie Hang could do nothing but nodded and said, "Okay, but you haven't taken out all the black jade yet, so I don't know what's inside. Come with me, let's take out this piece of jade first and see what's inside." Cai Hongming followed him to the warehouse and watched him put the black jade in front of a machine and slowly wipe off the outer skin. After a while, Yuffie Hang splashed water on the black jade that was covered with stone powder. After wiping the skin, the jade material became more and more moist and shiny after being splashed with water. After seeing that the whole stone was made of top quality black jade, Yuffie Hang asked Cai Hongming again, "Do you really want to use this black jade to carve a good? This is a rare top quality black jade, and it is calculated by grams in the market." "Yes, please help Master Yu." Seeing that he was so determined, Yuffie Hang had no choice. He looked at the black jade and thought that it could make about a dozen gourds. According to Cai Hongming's words, he first cut out the material of a gourd, and then used a machine to cut out the rough shape of the gourd, and then further processing. The gourd does not need too fine carving, so it does not take a long time. Just pay attention to the thickness when polishing the inner wall in the future. After a little work, Yuffie Hang stopped and invited Cai Hongming to make tea inside. When he came to the house, he saw all kinds of jades placed around, some finished products, and some jade materials, dazzling and numerous. Chapter to the rhythm of tea. When they got to the house, Yuffie Hang felt that the house was too messy, so he moved the tea set outside. There was a small pavilion behind his house facing the river. He placed the tea set in the pavilion, boiled water, made tea, and invited Cai Hongming to drink. The tea soup was bright orange yellow, and the tea fragrance was elegant, quiet, light and soft, with a lingering orchid fragrance. After drinking it, the fragrance lingered on the teeth and cheeks. Just one sip, Cai Hongming knew that it was Wuai rock tea from his hometown in Fujian province. Except for Wuai rock tea, no other tea would have this taste. Outside the pavilion, there were cruise ships carrying men and women playing on the canal, and the sound of playing and fighting could be heard from time to time. Tasting the fragrant dahan peo and admiring the beautiful scenery on the river, if there was a beautiful woman holding a gukin and playing a piece of chunjiang huaiyu next to you, it would be a great enjoyment in life. "How is it? The tea is good?" Yuffie Hang asked. "It is indeed very good. I wonder if it is from those famous teas?" Cai Hongming nodded. "I don't know. This is a gift from someone else. I'm just offering a gift to someone else." Yu Fihang smiled and filled another cup for Cai Hongming. Wuai rock tea has a long history. According to historical records, tea was planted and made in Wuai Mountain as early as the Tang dynasty. It was listed as a royal tribute in the Song dynasty. In the Yuan dynasty, a roasting bureau and imperial tea garden were set up in Wuai Mountain to specialize in collecting and making tribute tea. However, it was not until the late Ming and early Qing dynasties that oolong tea was created using tea trees planted in Wuai Mountain. Since then, there have been more varieties of Wuai rock tea, including the four famous Kang of Dahang Pao, Tea Luohan, Beijingwen and Shujingui. In addition, there are teas named after the growing environment of tea trees, such as Bujianshan, Jines Yuoshi, etc. Teas named after the shape of tea trees, such as Zui Haitang, Zui Dongbin, Dio Jingui, Fengwei Ko, Yukilin, Yizhi Xiang, etc. Teas named after the shape of tea trees, such as Guajin, Jinkan, Zhuc, Jinliu Shiro, Daoliu, etc. Teas named after the early or late sprouting of tea trees, such as Yingchun Liu, Bu Zhi Chun, etc. Teas named after the aroma of tea, such as Raoji Ui, Chi***, Bay Musk, etc. During the reign of Emperor Kangxi of the Qing dynasty, tea produced in Wuai began to be exported to Western Europe, North America and Southeast Asian countries. At that time, Europeans called it Wuai tea as a general term for national tea. Tea vendors often call all Wuai rock teas Dahang Pao. According to regulations, as long as it is rock tea from the place of origin, it can be called Dahang Pao. However, it is like a hot pot, a hodgepodge, and any tea that meets the specifications can be called this name. But in fact, there is still a distinction. When buying tea from a tea producer, if you ask for Dahang Pao, they will give you any kind at random. But if you ask what famous varieties or small varieties there are, they will tell you very clearly, this is Qidan, how much, that is Beidao, how much, that is Qizang, how much. The so-called Qidan, Beidao, and Qizang are varieties that are spliced from the offspring of the old tea trees in Lank, Wuai Mountain, just like a bar mixing cocktails, mixing several different flavors of wine together to make an unforgettable cocktail. If the spliced tea tastes good, the price is of course high. If the splicing is poor, the price will follow. However, Dahang Pao has great regulations, and it cannot be called Dahang Pao if it does not meet the regulations. After drinking tea, Yu Fihang told Cai Hongming to come to see the samples the day after tomorrow, and then went to work. Cai Hongming also said goodbye and left. Seeing that it was still early, he wanted to go to the folk collection market by the Slender West Lake to have a look. He would go to the Slender West Lake again in the evening to experience the beautiful scene of Dumew's 24 bridges on a moonlit night. Where can the Jade girls teach the flute? The collection market has always been a popular place, not to mention that this collection market is next to the food street by the Slender West Lake, and there are even more people coming and going. Cai Hongming came to the place, looked left and right, and had no intention of buying anything. In the past, he had bought knife coins and thumb-sized bronze mirrors from the Qin and Han dynasties, which were only about 10 yuan. He would not buy them if they were higher. He felt that these things could neither be eaten nor drunk, so what was the point of buying them? Besides, he did not understand these things. What if the price was too high, and he lost money? What if he bought fakes? So he usually bought these things for practicality, and would only buy them if they felt good and were not too expensive. In the past, he wanted to buy a bronze furnace with animal heads, which was about 80 yuan. Later, he felt that the wall of the copper furnace was too thin, so he offered 50 yuan to the boss. The boss refused to sell it, so he did not buy it. Thinking about it now, it's a good thing that I didn't buy it, otherwise I wouldn't know if it was imitation copper. Walking and looking all the way, he came to a corner at the back. He saw a 5-year-old girl sitting in front of a stall that looked like antiques, selling things. Behind her, a woman wearing a mask, coughing from time to time, and looking pale was sitting against the wall. "Uncle, do you want to buy something?" Seeing Cai Hongming coming, the little girl asked sweetly. "Let me take a look." Cai Hongming squatted down and casually picked up something that looked like amber and contained a scorpion. Uncle, that one costs 20 yuan. That one is not amber, it's plastic, but the scorpion inside is real. Mom said it's a handicraft. This one is also a handicraft, and so are those. That one only costs 5 yuan. This one is 10 yuan. This one is very expensive. It costs 100 yuan. This one is 150, and that one is 200. These are all antiques. The little girl saw that Cai Hongming seemed to be interested in the things on her stall, so she tried her best to introduce them to him. Do you also know what antiques are? Cai Hongming looked at her like a little adult and asked with a smile. Mom said that the things used by the ancients are antiques, and the things we use now are called handicrafts. The little girl said seriously. Hearing this explanation, Cai Hongming smiled and felt that it made sense. After looking at it, he put down the imitation amber and took another thing to look at. Seeing that he didn't buy it, the little girl went to do her own thing. She picked up a box of money next to her, took the money inside, and sorted it out, putting the 100 into the 100, the 10 into the 10, and the 5 into the 5. After putting it away, she picked up the 10 that was the largest and counted it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 is 10, and the 5 are 50. The little girl pinched her little finger and counted carefully, and then picked up the only 100. Add 100, a total of 150, plus 2 5 yuan. 150 plus 10, that's 110. After the little girl finished counting, she immediately shouted happily to the woman sitting in the corner, Mom, we sold 110 today. Fanning is great. The woman smiled from behind the mask to encourage her daughter. The little girl was so happy. At this time, a middle-aged man with shifty eyes walked out of the crowd. When he saw the money in the little girl's hand, his eyes flashed, and he stretched out his hand to grab it. Cai Hongming saw it from the side, and stepped forward to grab the hand he was trying to grab, and shouted, What are you doing? You even robbed a child's money. Do you have any shame? Chapter 3, Fate. The antique street of the collection market was crowded with people. When they heard Cai Hongming's shout, they immediately gathered around to watch the fun. Some people on this street knew the middle-aged man, so they pointed and talked about him. The middle-aged man saw more and more people coming, and he felt uneasy. He straightened his neck and shouted in a timid voice, I'm the child's father. Cai Hongming was shocked to hear that there was a father who robbed the child's money. As he thought about it, his hand loosened slightly. The middle-aged man struggled hard and retracted his hand. The little girl Fanshan, who was talking to her mother, heard the voice and turned around. When she saw the middle-aged man, she immediately put her hands on her waist and said loudly, You are not my father. You come to rob my mother and me of money every day. We are almost out of money to eat. I don't want you, a bad father. I only want my mother. Hearing the little girl's words, the people around looked at the middle-aged man with contempt. The middle-aged man still had some face. He was ashamed to be looked at and quickly escaped into the crowd and ran away. Looking at the middle-aged man leaving, the woman leaning against the wall finally couldn't help but shed tears. The little girl ran over to wipe her mother's tears and said with a serious face, Mom, I will protect you from being bullied by your father, the big bad guy. The woman couldn't help it anymore. She hugged the little girl in her arms and cried. Cai Hongming had good hearing and learned from the words of the crowd that the middle-aged man was really the girl's father. Perhaps it was destined by the previous life. The girl's mother was Cao Yongxiang, the only daughter in the family. In order to continue the family line, she married the middle-aged man. It was fine at the beginning, but after giving birth to the child, the man's true nature was revealed. He started to be lazy and gluttonous, and secretly took the things at home to sell. When she found out, she found that not only the things at home were sold, but also the house left by her father was mortgaged by him. After Cao Yongxiang found out, she took him to court, but the things had been sold, and there was her personal signature and fingerprint on the document, so how could she get them back? At this time, she remembered that he seemed to have brought a bunch of things for her to sign when she gave birth. She was confused at the time and signed casually, but she didn't expect it to be selling the house. Thinking that the man she shared a bed with was so deliberate, Cao Yongxiang felt cold in her heart, so she divorced him, moved out, rented a place outside, and raised the child independently. Later, in order to make a living, She came to the collection market to set up a stall. His father also set up a stall here before his death. With the help of his friends, he finally set up the stall. But she was honest and didn't want to cheat. She only sold some handicrafts and not very valuable antiques, so her income was very little. The money she earned was just enough to barely support her and her daughter. But what she never expected was that the man she divorced actually shamelessly chased her to the antique street and robbed the child of money in front of people. This is not the first time. Thinking about getting married, it's like a dream. The sweet words and vows of love in the past are nothing but a joke now. I can only blame myself for having misjudged and trusted the wrong person, which led to this situation today. Everything in the past can be regarded as eaten by a dog. At worst, I can start all over again. It sounds good, but no one would be willing to let a woman's youth be wasted like this. Now all she has left is the fan. If she didn't have the fan, she would have banged her head against the wall of her house and died. After crying for a while, Cai Hongming remembered that she was still in the antique street and hurriedly took off her mask to wipe away her tears so as not to be laughed at. After hearing what others said about Cai Hongming, the onlookers felt that the mother and daughter were really pitiful, so they took out money to buy some things to help support them. Cai Hongming didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She was a businessman and didn't need people's sympathy, but it was hard to refuse people's kindness. After a while, all the things were sold out. After tidying up, Cai Hongming looked up and saw Cai Hongming still standing there empty-handed. Then she remembered that she had not thanked him for his help just now, so she hurriedly said, "Thank you just now." "You're welcome, it's just a small favor." Cai Hongming waved his hand indifferently. "Do you want to buy antiques? I'll just take a look, don't mind." Cai Hongming didn't think so. After all, he had helped her just now, and it was a bit unreasonable to let him go back empty-handed. After thinking for a while, she said, "I do have some ancestral things at home, but the price is a bit expensive." After saying these words, Cai Hongming was ashamed. It would have been fine if he had helped her with a small antique, but most of the things she sold were purchased on the same day, and she would only replenish them after they were sold out. Now that they were sold out, she had to go in the afternoon to get more goods. Now she only had the few things that were passed down from her ancestors. She originally wanted to sell those things to buy a better living environment for her daughter. Besides, her daughter should go to school. This little money was saved for her tuition. It was absolutely impossible to give it away. When Cai Hongming heard her words, he thought of the middle-aged man just now. Why did he feel so much like the shitty plot of the antique seller in the novel? But looking at the woman's appearance, she should not be that kind of person. Besides, he might not buy her things, so it's okay to take a look. So, under the guidance of Cai Hongming, he followed her to her residence. Cai Hongming rented a low bungalow, a typical old house. Most of the people living in this old house are coolies and other lower class people. There are all kinds of people. At night, there is a lot of noise and chaos, and it is very restless. Walking into the room, it is clean, but it is full of things, especially children's things. After pouring a glass of water for Cai Hongming, Cai Hongming went to take out the things. When he opened it, Cai Hongming's eyes narrowed slightly, and a gleam of light flashed. Cai Hongming took out a set of gold jewelry inlaid with red, blue, green, purple, yellow and other colored gems, including 2 earrings, 2 rings, a headband and a necklace. Because they were kept for too long, the golden gems had lost their original luster and were extremely dull. "Sir, take a look at this set of jewelry. Do you like it?" Cai Hongming picked up the jewelry and looked at it carefully one by one. Finally, with his meager knowledge, he determined that the gold was indeed real, but he didn't know about the gems. After looking at it, Cai Hongming asked, "How much do you sell this jewelry for?" "This? I want 150,000. Cai Hongming looked at Cai Hongming anxiously. Although she didn't understand the market, she knew that her jewelry was definitely worth the money. If it weren't for Fan Shan, she would never sell the jewelry. This was her family's ancestral heirloom. Unexpectedly, Cai Hongming listened, but he didn't hesitate at all and said, "Okay, do you want to transfer money or cash?" "Transfer it." So Cao Yangxiang took Fan Shan and went to the bank with him to transfer the money. After the transfer, Cai Hongming declined her invitation to dinner and drove to find a hotel to rest. PS. I went out today, so the update is late. Sorry. Chapter 4. 24 Bridges on a Moonlit Night. In the hotel, Cai Hongming took out the jewelry he bought from Cao Yangxiang and looked at it carefully again. Read the latest and most complete novels. From his expression, it can be seen that he cares about this set of jewelry because he also has a pair of dragon and phoenix bracelets with the same style as these jewelry at home. It is his family heirloom. After his grandmother passed it to his mother, she has always treasured it. Others will be severely extinguished by her if they even have the slightest thought of looking at it. In her mind, the pair of bracelets represents a supreme authority as the eldest daughter-in-law in the family, so every new year she will take it out to show it off and show off. Every time the second aunt saw it, she was jealous and felt sour in her heart. Although her grandmother also gave her a set of gold jewelry when she got married, in her heart, those things could never compare with the pair of dragon and phoenix bracelets. When he saw the pair of bracelets before, he had heard his mother talk about the origin of the bracelets. It is said that during the Republic of China, his grandfather's grandfather's grandfather, anyway, it was his ancestor. He accidentally saved a general with a broken bone, and the man gave him this pair of bracelets as a gift. Later, the bracelets were passed down as a testimony of the eldest daughter-in-law of the eldest house. Cai Hongming didn't expect to see a necklace of the same style as the family heirloom bracelet here. I wonder what the relationship is between Cao Yangxiang's family and the generals his ancestors saved, but it has nothing to do with him. When his mother comes home during the Chinese New Year, she will be so happy to give her this set of jewelry. After looking at it, Cai Hongming put the jewelry away. It was dark outside at this time, so he had some food in the hotel and walked towards the Slender West Lake scenic area. The Slender West Lake in the daytime is completely different from that at night. In the daytime, the Slender West Lake has a sense of reality under the sun, but at night, the landscape lights installed in various locations are lit, and various colors are intertwined. Among the green trees and green waters, it will give people a hazy beauty. If you are lucky, you can see a beautiful woman passing by the bridge, which is like a glimpse in a fairyland, as if it were a dream. Walking on the bridge of Slender West Lake, looking at the colorful water surface reflected by the colorful lights, Cai Hongming recalled the line in Du Mu's sent to Han Shuo, the judge of Yangzhou on a moonlit night under the 24 bridges. Where can the jade girl teach to play the flute? Thinking about it, he couldn't help but get drunk. This poem was written by Du Mu to his friend Han Shuo, who was a judge in Yangzhou, after he was appointed as the supervisory censor and returned to Chang'an from the Huayin and Jidashi's office. Yangzhou in the Tang dynasty was a prosperous metropolis in the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River, with shops and stores everywhere, merchants like clouds, and restaurants and dance halls everywhere. It is said that every evening, there are often tens of thousands of red gauze lanterns on the prostitutes' towers, shining in the sky, and the 9-mile and 30-step streets are filled with pearls and jade, as if in a fairyland. At that time, Du Mu, who was working in Yangzhou and had a wild and unrestrained temperament, happened to meet Han Shuo, a fellow traveler. The two often lingered in the prostitutes' houses together, leaving behind many romantic stories. So when he returned to Chang'an and thought of those days, he wrote poems to him and teased his friend by the way. In the beautiful Yangzhou in the southeast, where can you teach a beautiful woman to play the flute for fun in late autumn? According to people's thinking now, the two of them are a perfect match. Otherwise, Du Mu would not have written poems to mourn Han Shuo after he passed away. Cai Hongming walked and looked, not thinking about anything, and felt the charm of the Jiangnan water with his heart. Although there are not as many people in the Slender West Lake at night as in the daytime, there are still quite a few. At this time, two girls came slowly from behind him. The two of them were wearing thick clothes and skirts, graceful, and in the dim light, they were like fairies from the Yaote. Zinkiji has a poem that people can't forget, no matter how hard they try. Every time they think of it, it's like eating cold ice in June, which makes people feel like they have been enlightened. That is a moth, snow willow, and golden thread. The smile is full of fragrance. I searched for her thousands of times in the crowd. Suddenly I looked back and saw that person in the dim light. This poem says that the poet saw a beautiful woman with fragrance floating on her body, wearing bright ornaments such as moth, snow willow, and golden thread, walking with the crowd with a smile. At that time, he was also drunk. When he came to his senses, he hurriedly looked for her in the crowd. Unfortunately, even if he searched in the crowd thousands of times, he couldn't find her. Suddenly, when he turned around, he inadvertently saw her standing gracefully in the place where the lights were scattered. The poet's feelings are finally romantic. He only saw the beauty at night. In the daytime, he would probably cry out for death. The women seen at night are absolutely different from those seen during the day, just like this slender west lake. The dim lights of the night, coupled with makeup, covered up all the shameful parts of the woman. You couldn't see her height, weight, crooked nose, buck teeth, or monkey face, but the demon showed up in the daytime. Last time, there was a news report about a man who took a woman to a hotel at night, but the next day he found that the woman was older than his mother, so he called the police. It is said that the man cried because it was his first time. He had such a woman for the first time. Let's mourn for his first time for 1 second. If Cai Hongming looked back, he would definitely find that one of the two girls looked familiar. These two were the two women he met on the plane. One of the women, who was originally wearing thick white powder, now took off her thick makeup, revealing a cute and delicate face, not at all like the mature look on the plane. As they were walking, the girl suddenly pointed at Cai Hongming in front of her and whispered to the girl next to her, "Meng Meng, look, is that the stinky man who blackmailed me for 10,000 yuan on the plane?" The girl called Meng Meng looked at it and said, "It seems so, but he didn't blackmail you. You gave it to him willingly, and he didn't force you to give it. What's the difference between him talking like that and forcing me to give it?" The girl said angrily. Her eyes turned, and she looked at the girl called Meng Meng and said, "Meng Meng, you are so mean. Are you in love with that stinky man? I tell you, you can't like him, otherwise I will break up with you." "What are you talking about?" The girl called Meng Meng rolled her eyes at her. "Huh, anyway, you can't like him." The girl said angrily, "I want to find someone to teach him a lesson, otherwise I can't swallow this breath." So, she picked up her phone and started to call. "Fatty, I was bullied, you quickly bring someone over to teach him a lesson." After saying that, she put down the phone proudly. The girl called Meng Meng smiled bitterly and said, "It's just a little money, why are you making such a fuss?" "What do you mean a little money? It's 10,000 yuan. You don't know how expensive oil and rice are until you manage the household. If I save 10,000 yuan, I can buy a lot of snacks, clothes, shoes, and cosmetics. How can I accept that so many things are gone at once?" It turned out that she didn't feel sorry for the money, but she felt sorry for not buying so many things. The girl called Meng Meng was speechless. Chapter 5. Don't you know that I'm an expert? The hotel where Cai Hongming stayed was right beside the slender West Lake, so he walked here when he came here to play. On the way back, he walked on the deserted forest path beside the West Lake. The dim lights set off the neon lights of the coffee shop next to it, giving people a different feeling. The wind was blowing, and the trees below were covered with leaves, which made a creaking sound when stepped on. It was particularly creepy in this dark night. The weather in Yangzhou is warmer than in the northwest. People there have already put on thick down jackets, but here you only need to wear 2 clothes and a coat. He walked casually, not afraid of the silence of the deserted path at all, but rather liked it a little. He is a man of the zodiac sign. Silence and tranquility are the connotation of men of this zodiac sign. Boom. Suddenly, there was a roar of a car engine in front, and then several car lights shone in, and the blazing white light stimulated his eyes, so that he couldn't see the road ahead clearly. After adapting, he found that there were 5 cars, all of which were off-road types. The car stopped beside him, wrapping him in an arc. The situation didn't look right, so Cai Hongming was on guard. The car door opened, and a tall and fat man got out of a Hummer. Several strong young men also got out of the cars next to him. They looked like they had some abdominal muscles. The fat man came to stand in front of him, looking at him coldly, crossed his fingers, and shook them lightly, which immediately made a crackling sound. He turned his head again and then came to Cai Hongming and said, "Little, take out all the money you have and then sing a song of conquer for Grandpa obediently. If you make Grandpa feel comfortable, Grandpa will let you go. Otherwise, you know the consequences." Robbery? Cai Hongming looked at the cars in front, and it didn't seem like it. Those who came out to rob in Hummers and Land Rover were too poor. It was probably a group of guys who came out to have fun, but it seemed that they had found the wrong target. He glanced at Pang and said, "I don't know how to sing conquer. Why don't you sing it for me first?" Pang was straightforward. When he heard what he said, "Then I'll take the lead." After that, he turned around and took out a microphone from the car and then shouted into the microphone, "Just like this, I was conquered by you, cutting off all my retreat routes. My mood is firm, but my decision is confused. Just like this, I was conquered by you and drank the poison you hid. My story has ended, and my love and hatred have been buried." After singing, Pang threw the microphone to him and said, "Just like this, sing quickly, or I'll beat you up if you don't sing well." Cai Hongming threw the microphone back and said jokingly, "Aren't you singing very well? Why do you want me to sing? You're kidding me." Pang realized that he was being fooled, and he got angry and punched him. Cai Hongming did not retreat but advanced, stretched out his hand to grab his fist, and used the force to pull and push, and immediately removed his shoulder. "Ah. My hand is broken. I can't move my hand. Help." Pang cried and screamed. Cai Hongming didn't expect this guy to be so fragile. He was just as if his parents had died after his bones were removed. "Brother Pang, are you okay?" Several young men rushed forward to support him. "I'm in this state. How can I be okay?" "Go, beat me hard. As long as you don't beat me to death, I will take care of the rest," Pang shouted. Upon hearing this, several young men rushed towards Cai Hongming. Cai Hongming was as fast as a flying crane. While several people were walking calmly, he suddenly struck at their hand and foot joints. In just a moment, these people's hands and feet were removed by him, and they fell to the ground and wailed, "Ah, my foot, my hand." Cai Hongming looked at the few people who were crying on the ground with disdain, straightened his clothes, and thought to himself, "Don't you know that I'm a master?" His family has inherited bone setting and massage, and he has been watching in the room where his grandfather sits since he was a child. When he was 10 years old, he felt that he had learned enough, so he started looking for something to practice. He first looked for his family's chickens. Since then, his family has heard the cries of roosters and hens from time to time. For a while, Luanfeng felt very strange. Why did the chickens in his family have broken wings and legs? She thought it was some naughty child who did it, so she told her son to be careful, but unfortunately, she didn't find out who did it in the end. A year later, he felt that he had known all the bones of the roosters and hens, so he turned to the ducks next door. Of course, there was also the reason that his mother found that the hens at home did not lay eggs and the roosters did not crow, and she watched them every day, which made it difficult for him to start. Luanfeng probably never thought that the culprit of all this was his son. If he knew, he would probably be in trouble. The next year, the ducks next door were all killed, so he turned his evil hands to a group of fat geese that often shit in front of his house. Afterwards, he felt that he had made a name for himself in the village poultry world, so he turned to the animals with long legs in the village. Since then, the village has often seen strange things such as broken-legged mice and toads without feet. Some people also found that their dogs' tails were often broken, and their legs were often limping. I don't know when it started, but the villagers found a strange thing. Where Cai Hongming walked, chickens, ducks, dogs and other animals either ran very fast or trembled on the spot. The animals that were originally barking stopped talking when they heard his voice. Others try to stop the boiling water by stirring the soup, but he stops the barking by the sound of human voice. From this, we can see the extent to which he harms animals. The girl who had just asked someone to teach Cai Hongming a lesson and was sitting in the car ready to watch the show saw Pang and a group of young people lying on the ground wailing, and she was so scared that she got out of the car quickly. "Pang, what's wrong with you?" The girl came to the wailing Pang and asked anxiously. "It's okay, I just can't move my hands." Pang showed a smile that was uglier than crying. How can you hit people like this? I'm going to call the police and have you arrested and locked up. The girl turned to Cai Hongming and said, okay. I want to see whether they arrest the blackmailers or me, the victim. Cai Hongming said calmly with his arms folded. The girl thought so, but when she thought about the blackmail she had received on the plane, she felt unhappy. If they want to arrest someone, they'll arrest you. Who told you to blackmail me for 10,000 yuan on the plane? I'm going to ask the police to arrest you and lock you up. As she said that, she really wanted to call the police. Okay. Ziying, let's call 120 and ask an ambulance to take Fatty and the others to the hospital. The girl who was previously called Meng also got out of the car. Seeing that the girl was still making trouble, he persuaded her to stop. Then he turned to Cai Hongming and said, I'm sorry, it's my friend who is ignorant and has caused you trouble. Seeing her and thinking about what the girl had said just now, Cai Hongming realized that they were the two people he had met on the plane. It seemed that the girl was unhappy that she had given him 10,000 yuan on the plane, so she asked someone to come and take revenge. Unexpectedly, she met a master of this handsome master. It's true that if you don't ask for death, you won't die. The ancients never lied to me. Seeing that she had no ill intentions and that he was fine, Cai Hongming did not take it too seriously and walked towards Pang, intending to connect his arm. When the girl saw him coming, she jumped up and yelled, what are you doing? Do you want to hit someone again? Is there any justice or law in this world? Cai Hongming was too lazy to pay attention to her. He grabbed Pang's arm with one hand and patted him on the shoulder. Ah! Pang screamed. What are you doing? If you dare to mess around again, I will fight you to the death. Hey, how can my hand move? I'm fine. Ying, I'm fine. Pang waved his hand that had become intact again and said happily to the girl. The girl glanced at this strong guy and didn't want to talk to him anymore. She asked him to teach someone a lesson, but he didn't expect to lose himself, and he was also shamelessly yelling here, which really made her lose face. After Cai Hongming connected Pang's hand, he connected the bones of several young people lying on the ground. He just used his understanding of human joints to make the bones dislocated. It was very simple to connect them, and it would be healed in seconds. After finishing it, he was too lazy to stay here and turned to leave. But when he left, he did not forget to say to the girl, if you want to find someone to teach me a lesson in the future, you'd better find someone with good skills. You make me feel that my level is very low. I'm inferior to your mother. The girl shouted in her heart with hatred. She wanted to say it out loud, but in order to maintain her ladylike image, she had to give up. But she stared at Cai Hongming with her eyes, intending to stare him to death. Ying, where did this master come from? He is so arrogant. Pang looked at Cai Hongming's departing back and asked the girl, what are you arrogant about? You have embarrassed me today. The girl angrily pulled the girl called Meng and turned away. Ying. Pang hurriedly chased after her. Chapter 6, The Grumpy Old Man. On the third day, Cai Hongming came to Yu Fihang's house as agreed. He rang the doorbell and an old woman came out to open the door. She looked like Yu Fihang's wife. Hello, auntie. I'm here to see Master Yu. I made an appointment with him the day before yesterday. The woman looked at him and said, you are the guy who brought the black jade to carve goods for old Yu. Yes, auntie. Come in. I heard about you yesterday from old Yu. After hearing that it was him, Yu Fihang's wife let him in and took him to the living room. You sit here first. I'll go call old Yu out. Sorry for bothering you, auntie. No. After saying that, she went in and called her husband. The living room was filled with all kinds of uncarved jade stones and carved ornaments. Cai Hongming had never seen so many jades before, so he walked over to take a closer look. After a while, Yu Fihang came out with a carved gourd, followed by an old man leisurely. Hongming is here, sit down. This is the carved gourd, take a look. Yu Fihang handed the gourd to Cai Hongming, sat down at the table to make tea, and introduced him. This is my dad, the old jade master. Dad, Hongming is the owner of that black jade. Hello, uncle. Cai Hongming called the old man politely. Good. The old man nodded and said, young man, it's a pity that you use such a good jade to carve a gourd. Cai Hongming didn't know what to say. His piece of jade was dug from the mountain, and it didn't cost much, so he didn't think it was a pity. But the old man was different. He had been in the jade business for so many years, and knew the prices of these things. Good quality black jade has always been very rare on the market, especially this kind of top grade black jade, that is as black as pure lacquer and as fine as condensed fat. It is even rarer. The price is also amazingly high. Pendants made of black jade like this on the market are amazingly expensive. If his black jade were all made into jewelry, the price would be terrifyingly high. Actually, I think the gourd carved by Master Yu is pretty good, Cai Hongming said, after looking at Yu Fihang. The carved gourd looked crystal clear, like a grape after dew, plump and juicy, and felt smooth and round, as delicate as skin, so he was very satisfied. What's good about it? There's no creativity at all, the old man said with a glare, and then said to Yu Fihang who was making tea, I saw that this gourd was a mess at first glance. I told you a long time ago that you have to have your own ideas and vision in our business. Don't carve the same as others. Look at your gourd, it's just a gourd, without any artistic cells or imagination. Fortunately, the young man didn't care. If it was someone else, I guess he would have thrown it away long ago. Yu Fihang pulled his face and wanted to say something, but he didn't say it in the end. Anyway, whatever the old man said was right. If he carved this gourd, it would be a return to its original simplicity, but if it was him, it would be just an ordinary thing copied from others. If you talked to him about art before, he would spit on your face and say, what a bullshit art. They do this just to make a living. What about art? Now he starts to talk about art with style. Cai Hongming looked at the gourd and felt that it was not as serious as the old man said. He opened the gourd and saw that it was hollowed out, with enough space to put the jade-toed liquid, which was exactly what he wanted. Hearing the old man's words about Yu Fihang, he quickly chimed in, Uncle, I think this gourd is okay. He hadn't finished speaking when the old man waved his hand to interrupt him. What's okay? It's just a mess. I'm not saying that his carving is bad. If he was carving one gourd, it would be okay, but he is carving a bunch of gourds. If they are all like this, it would be too low level. After all, he is a master. How can he be so short-sighted? Carving gourds, one can be like this, but if there are more, it will be different. Two should be carved into dragons and phoenixes or yin and yang gourds, and they should be in pairs. 3 should be the 3 talents of heaven, earth and man, and 3 different patterns should be carved on them. 4 should be carved into the 4 gentlemen of plum, orchid, bamboo and chrysanthemum, or 4 beauties, 4 sacred beasts, etc. 5 should be carved into the 5 blessings of fortune, wealth, longevity, happiness and wealth, and so on. Only then will the carved things look good, and will not make people feel abrupt, and the complete set of things is more valuable, the old man said, and then scolded Yu Fihang, look at what you have carved. Do you think you are a master, just because you got the master certificate? You think your master certificate is really obtained by your own ability? No, it was given to you by others to sell me face. Look at the things you have carved in the past few years, there is not a single decent work. If you continue to be like this in the future, you'd better not get involved in this business, lest you lose me. The old man said a lot of things angrily, and it was inevitable that his mouth was dry. Yu Fihang hurriedly handed him a cup of tea attentively. He knew his old man's temper. Anyway, if he didn't scold him for a day, he would feel uncomfortable all over. He was used to it. After drinking tea, the old man said to Cai Hongming again, young man, you shouldn't ask him to carve this black jade. You should ask me. My craftsmanship is much better than his. You just wasted your treasure. Yu Fihang grinned, thinking that he should have said this earlier. Why do you try so hard to lower yourself to raise yourself and attack others? He had already taught Cai Hongming a lesson when he came. It was nothing more than seeing such a good material as top grade black jade, and being overwhelmed by it, and wanting to do it himself. This was the problem of the old man. He couldn't bear to see good things and was greedy. No. I think Master Yu's craftsmanship is very good. Cai Hongming didn't understand what the old man meant and said in a daze. Not even close. The old man looked disdainful and asked again, by the way, young man, why did you carve so many goods? It's a pity to carve such a large piece of jade into gourds. It would be better to carve it into a large ornament, so that it can also be sold at a good price. After hearing this, Yu Fihang also looked at Cai Hongming. He was also curious about why Cai Hongming carved all the black jade into gourds. You know, such a large piece of top grade black jade, whether it is cut into pieces and carved into ornaments or made into an ornament, is very valuable. Cai Hongming couldn't tell them that he wanted to see if he could use it to hold the jade toad liquid by carving the gourd, so he could only lie. It's nothing. I found that the wine tastes especially mellow when it's held in jade, better than when we use ordinary bottles, so I want to carve it into a gourd. Just for this? The old man stared. Yeah. Cai Hongming felt a little weak when he looked at him. You don't need so many, young man. Listen to my advice. It's a pity to carve all the jade into gourds. The old man advised earnestly. Hongming, you don't need so many gourds to hold the wine. If you want, I still have some jade here. You can use the jade carvings as much as you want, and let my dad carve a decoration for the rest. What do you think? After saying that, he was afraid that Cai Hongming would be worried, so he continued, don't worry, my dad is a national treasure level sculptor, and his craftsmanship is much better than mine. Humph. His dad was obviously very dissatisfied with his superfluous explanation. Does he need to talk about his craftsmanship? The two fathers bombarded him in turn, and Cai Hongming couldn't help but nod. In fact, he didn't need so many goods to hold the jade toad liquid, but he still had to see if this gourd could hold the jade toad liquid. If it could, he would continue to carve the gourd. If not, there was no point in continuing to carve. Cai Hongming thought for a while and said, let me think about it. I'll give you an answer tomorrow. Okay, think about it slowly. Come and have some tea. The old man was very happy to hear that Cai Hongming was willing to consider it. As long as he didn't start with the black jade, it would be difficult to carve it into a large ornament if he cut it further. You know, this kind of fine texture, delicate texture, black as ink, comparable to the Haitian mutton fat white jade, is very rare, especially this big one. It is even rarer. If he was allowed to carve it into a gourd, he would really be old and confused. After drinking some tea, Cai Hongming left Yu Fihang's house. At night, he took some out of the jade tripod that condensed the jade toad liquid and put it into the gourd to see if the black jade gourd could preserve the jade toad liquid. The next day, he found that the jade toad liquid in the black jade gourd was still intact, and it did not stink at all as it had been left in the bottle overnight. He quickly called Master Yu and asked him to continue carving gourds. However, he was not asked to carve as many gourds as before, only 5. He thought about it and felt that what Yu Fihang's father said was not unreasonable. Besides, there was a large amount of income. If you don't make money, you are a bastard. Although the matter had been agreed on the phone, Yu Fihang still asked him to go to his house. So he went out and drove over. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 7 Airdrop Positioning. When he arrived at the home of jade carving master Yu Fihang, he saw his old man was also there. Young man, come and sit over here. The old man greeted him warmly. Cai Hongming sat down and asked, I wonder what Master Yu wants me to do today. Young man, it's like this. You need to carve the jade for me and sign a contract, so I asked Fihang to call you over. As he said that, the old man motioned Yu Fihang to take out the contract. Cai Hongming took the contract handed over by Yu Fihang and took a look. It was a commissioned processing contract, which detailed the responsibilities of both parties. After reading it, Cai Hongming put the contract on the table and said, Master Yu, there is actually no need to be so troublesome. I gave you the black jade to carve because I trust your character. I don't need these cumbersome things. The black jade came easily, so he didn't care much. If it were someone else, they might not only sign a contract, but also buy an insurance policy. Yu Fihang's father was very happy to hear this. He laughed and said, young man, you have a good eye. Everyone in Yangzhou knows that I, old Yu, am a man of my word and I will never do anything to cheat people. But young man, I still have to criticize and teach you a lesson. You didn't sign a contract with the owner for such a good piece of jade. Fortunately, my son is not the kind of person who forgets his loyalty when he sees the good things. If someone saw the good things and took them away, you would have nowhere to cry. The old man taught me a lesson. Hearing what he said, Cai Hongming also felt that something was wrong. It seemed that he was still too young and acted rashly. Such a large piece of top quality black jade is indeed easy to make people feel dirty. Fortunately, I met a person with professional ethics like Master Yu, otherwise the consequences would be worrying. After drinking tea for a while, Master Yu took Cai Hongming to the workshop. On the platform of the workshop, the top quality black jade with the surface polished off exuded an extreme dark night charm under the light. Young man, come here and take a look. You said you wanted to carve 5 goods, so I will cut a piece from here, and a piece from here, and the rest can be used to carve a large ornament. I'm not familiar with this, it's up to you. Don't worry, this thing will never be useless in my hands. Yu Fihang's father hesitated for a moment, and then said, but I need your help with something. What do you say? There will be a jade tasting event held by fellow artists in Shenzhen at the end of the year. I want to carve out your black jade, sign my name on it, and take it to the event. I don't know if it's possible. Don't worry, the jade carving will never go wrong. On the contrary, its value may double at the tasting event. If you want to sell it, you will get a good price there. Yu Fihang explained on the side. The Shenzhen Jade Tasting Event has always been a year-end gathering of domestic and foreign jade merchants and wealthy people. Everyone wants to buy something good to take back for the new year. If you want to sell it, it is more cost-effective to go there than to an auction house, and there is no commission. There was such a good thing. Cai Hongming agreed without even thinking about it. Seeing Cai Hongming agreed, Yu Fihang's father rubbed his hands with joy, staring at the top quality black jade without blinking. Yu Fihang knew that his father's old illness had come back, so he didn't care about him and took Cai Hongming outside to make tea. After drinking a few sips of tea, Cai Hongming asked Yu Fihang curiously, I wonder what your father wants to carve with that black jade? My father is best at carving the emperor, Yu Fihang said proudly. Cai Hongming raised his eyebrows when he heard it. Carving is good. There are many people who believe in Guangdi and the coastal areas, especially in Fujian and Guangdong, as well as Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan, and Southeast Asia. If it is carved well, coupled with the top quality of this black jade, it will not be difficult to sell it for a good price. If it can be sold at a good price, maybe he can do a big job next year and no longer have to worry about the money for developing the 1,000 acres of desert land. The remaining 5 goods and large ornaments could not be carved in a short time, so Cai Hongming did not plan to wait in Yangzhou. After leaving Yu Fihang, he drove to Zhenjiang to return the car and then took the train to Shanghai, where a beautiful woman was waiting for him. Shanghai, abbreviated as HU, is known as the Oriental Paris. When it comes to Shanghai, the first thing people think of may not be the Oriental Pearl Tower, the charming bund scenery, or the nightclubs of Hengshan Road and Xinxiandi that make people linger, but the old TV series Shanghai Bund and the familiar song. They are the memories of a generation and people can never forget them. When Cai Hongming was studying, he looked a little handsome and knew kung fu. So he was very popular and was always the envy of his classmates, but the only bad thing was his study ability. Except for chemistry, which could get 80 points, most of the other subjects failed, especially English, which was even more terrible. Shiwana was just the opposite. She had a strange and delicate heart under her fat appearance, and she was the first in every exam and study. So Cai Hongming went out to the society after graduating from junior high school, while she went straight up and is now a graduate student at Fudan University. She will graduate in 1 semester and get a master's degree. I don't know how he, a junior high school student, feels when facing her tall master's degree. It was already late when Cai Hongming arrived in Shanghai, so he didn't go to find Shiwana, but planned to go there tomorrow to give her a surprise. Fudan, originally named Fudan Public School, was founded by Ma Xiangbo, a well-known modern educator, and the first school director Sun Yat-sen. The word Fuden was selected from the famous sentence "The sun and the moon are shining" day after day in the biography of Shangshu Dachila Newsire biography, which means to strive for self-improvement and entrust the hope of the Chinese people at that time to run schools independently and strengthen the country through education. Fudenhanden campus is an ancient and grand campus with traces of history everywhere. Walking inside, you can immediately feel a strong cultural heritage. Cai Hongming walked on the tree-lined road of the campus and heard bursts of birds singing in his ears, and the atmosphere was unusually quiet. Looking around, there were energetic girls everywhere. He ignored the boys, which made his almost old heart come alive. After walking around for a long time, he remembered that he was here to find Shiwana. He didn't know where she was, so he picked up the phone and sent her a message. "What are you doing?" "Walking on the grass on campus with my friends." "Oh, where is there so much grass for you to step on?" "This side of the Yifu building." "Why are you asking these questions?" "I plan to take a helicopter to drop down to see you, so I asked you your location so that I can locate you." TSK, whoever believes this is stupid. Don't believe it? Wait for me, I'll be there in seconds. After saying that, Cai Hongming pulled up the map and took a look, then quickly walked towards the Yifu building. Chapter 8 The Watermelon Fell. After reading the message, Shiwan looked up at the sky. The sky was azure blue, without even a cloud, let alone an airplane. She shook her head and wondered if she was stupid enough to believe such a thing. This guy had lied to her like this before, like borrowing her eraser because it was broken, and then the eraser she had just bought disappeared, borrowing her ballpoint pen because it was broken, and then the ballpoint pen disappeared. The most hateful thing was that once she took the dog doll her mother had just brought to school to play, but he snatched it away. Not only did he not feel guilty, but he also said with confidence that girls like her should play with mice, rabbits, kittens and the like, and dogs were not suitable for her at all, which made her very angry. She didn't know why she was so stupid to fall in love with him. Could it be a bad fate in her previous life? Shiwana pondered the possibility of this question. "Hello!" Suddenly, a loud shout came from her ear, which scared her. "What's the matter?" Shiwana asked curiously. "What's the matter? We two finally had time to come and play with you, but you were distracted. Tell the truth. Do you have a boy you like?" Yanling looked at Shiwana angrily, and Yi beside her also cast a curious look. The two of them were her classmates, friends, best friends, girlfriends, and partners. They knew that she had a bad temper and high aspirations, and there were few boys she liked. They all wanted to know who tamed this rouge horse. "No," Shiwana said shyly, turning around. Yanling and Yi rolled their eyes. With that look of spring in her eyes, no one would believe her saying no. "Fatty." Cai Hongming came to the grassland in front of Yifu building and saw Shiwana's back. He immediately shouted loudly, but suddenly remembered that Shiwana didn't allow him to call her that, so he quickly changed his words and shouted, "Wana." Shiwana didn't need to turn around to listen to the sound to know that the bad guy was coming. Unexpectedly, he came as soon as he said. But suddenly she thought of him calling her a fat woman again, and she felt very annoyed, so she ignored him and walked forward. Yanling, who was standing next to her, saw that there seemed to be news, so she quickly stood aside to watch the show. Yi looked at Cai Hongming in the distance, and felt as if she had seen him somewhere before. Seeing that Shiwana didn't look back, and was still walking forward, Cai Hongming quickly called out again, "Wana, Sister Wana, Sister Wana." "Oh, you even called me sister, Chachu. Why don't you go meet your brother, your beloved sister?" Yanling teased. Shiwana was already in a bad mood because he called her a fat woman. When she heard Yanling's teasing, she immediately turned around and ran towards Cai Hongming angrily. Her eyes were wide open, her mouth was bulging, and two streams of air came out of her nostrils, like an angry cow. This is what Cai Hongming thought. Seeing her like this, he knew that he had angered her by calling the fat woman. He thought it was not good. When she came over, he suddenly had an idea and shouted, "You dropped your watermelon." When Shiwana heard this, she stopped and looked around. "Where is the watermelon? Your place is jumping up and down, isn't it filled with watermelon?" Cai Hongming scratched his chest with both hands, indicating the two majestic peaks on her chest. Shiwana was really furious this time and shouted loudly, "My watermelon, your mother." Then he punched Cai Hongming. Cai Hongming naturally couldn't let her hit him. Like a cat playing with a mouse, he turned around and came behind her, stretched out his hand, and hugged her body tightly in his arms together with her hand. "Let go." Shiwana struggled. "No." Cai Hongming smiled, put his nose close to her hair, and took a deep breath, and a virgin fragrance broke into his heart and lungs. I don't know when he started to be obsessed with the smell, and I don't know if he was poisoned by a kind of love. "If you don't let go, I'll kick you," Shiwana warned. "Then you try to kick me," Cai Hongming said jokingly. Humph. Seeing that he didn't let go, Shiwana was very annoyed and kicked back with her right foot. If this kick had been successful, Cai Hongming's testicles would have been in danger. Fortunately, Cai Hongming felt her foot moving and instantly clamped his legs together, thus escaping the danger. "You are so cruel. If you break it, what will happen to the baby in the future?" "What baby?" Shiwana asked in confusion, but suddenly came to her senses. "Bah, who wants to marry you?" As soon as she finished speaking, she heard someone screaming beside her. "Oh, I'm dying, I'm dying, I've got sty, I've got sty, I can't see anymore, I can't see anymore." Yanling and Yi Yi came to the two of them at some point. Yanling covered his eyes with one hand and pretended to shout, while Yi Yi stared at them with her eyes wide open. When had she ever seen Shiwana's little face blush? Today she really learned something new. "Don't let go," Shiwana said angrily when she saw Cai Hongming still holding her tightly and secretly wondered if this guy was addicted to hugging. Cai Hongming quickly let go, but he didn't expect that Shiwana stepped hard on his foot after she got out of his arms, causing him to scream in pain, and Yanling and Yi Yi beside him laughed. After laughing for a while, Yi Yi looked at Cai Hongming and said to Shiwana, "I think I have seen him somewhere." No, I haven't seen him." Cai Hongming denied it flatly. He recognized the girl as the one he met on the desert highway as soon as he arrived, and he scolded her. How could he say such an embarrassing thing? He thought so, but Shiwana didn't want to do as he wished. Where else could it be? In the desert. "Didn't he scold you when we drove there for fun?" "Oh, I remember. It's this guy. But his face has become much whiter and there are not so many bits. No wonder I didn't recognize him at first." Yanling also went there that time, but Cai Hongming, who now drinks the jade toad liquid diluted with water to practice the fetal breathing sutra, has obviously changed a lot from the last time they met. No wonder she didn't recognize him. Hearing her say this, Yi Yi took another closer look and finally recognized him. "I remember it too. Last time on the desert highway, he was the one who didn't help me and scolded me." Yi Yi looked at Cai Hongming angrily and said to Shiwana, "Choo choo, how could you like such a low-class person? Did you hit your head with tofu?" Shiwana heard what he said, looked Cai Hongming up and down carefully, nodded in agreement and said, "You're right, this person is quite low class." After saying that, she couldn't help but chuckle. Cai Hongming smacked his lips, not knowing what to say. Look at his face, his figure, his clothes. Which one is not up to standard? These women, their eyes are gone. They don't know how to appreciate such an excellent man like him. No wonder so many people are being cheated of money and sex now. It's because they are too stupid. It's because of such people that Chinese football has been unable to make progress, unable to break out of Asia and go to the world, unable to break out of the earth and dominate the universe. How sad. Chapter 9. Beautiful. "Hey, handsome guy, what's your name? Tell us how you captured our hearts?" Yanling asked curiously with eyes wide open, and even Yi Yi listened attentively. What should Cai Hongming say? "Stop joking," Shiwana said shyly beside him. "What's the joking? I'm helping you analyze the process and results of what happened, so that you don't get cheated without knowing it," Yanling said righteously. Cai Hongming felt that a large group of crows flew across the sky. Did she need to analyze their relationship? It was really a dog catching a rat and meddling in other people's business. But after all, she was Shiwana's good sister, so she introduced herself. "I'm Cai Hongming." She used to be her junior classmate. Maybe it can be said that we fell in love over time. As he said that, he raised his eyebrows to Shiwana and said, "We can be considered childhood sweethearts." Seeing his shameless look, Shiwana turned her face away and didn't bother to pay attention to him. What childhood sweethearts? Childhood sweethearts refer to boys and girls who grew up together. You are just good friends at best. Yanling rolled her eyes and said, handsome guy, what are you doing here? Are you looking for Chachu to play? Chachu can't just go out with anyone. Otherwise what if she meets bad guys? But if you treat us to a meal, we can ask her to take us out for a walk with you. Cai Hongming felt strange when he heard this. It was the first time he saw someone being a light bulb so confidently. He looked at Shiwana and saw that she didn't object, so he agreed. Then I'll treat you in the afternoon, but don't eat too expensive food. I'm not a rich man. You don't look like one. Yanling glanced at him and turned around to discuss where to go with Yi and Shiwana. In the end, the three decided to eat steak on campus in the afternoon and then go shopping. After shopping, she and Yi rushed away with the things they bought, leaving Cai Hongming and Shiwana alone. It seems that the two are not the kind of people who don't know how to look at each other. The campus was very quiet. Apart from the sound of wind, water, and insects, there was only the sound of pounding heartbeats. Cai Hongming and Shiwana walked side by side in the campus. As they walked, their hands unconsciously crossed their fingers and held each other tightly. Let's sit over there. Cai Hongming pointed to the wooden chair under the tree in front and said. Shiwana nodded. It rained a little last night, so it's a bit cold today, but this little cold doesn't seem to be able to stop the passionate men and women who are in love. After sitting for a while, Cai Hongming was unwilling to hold her hand, so he held her in his arms, smelling the fragrance of her hair, feeling her tenderness, and his heart couldn't help but be intoxicated. The two sat there silently, no one said a word, feeling each other's heartbeats, listening to each other's voices. At this time, silence is better than words. After a while, Cai Hongming asked, by the way, why do they all call you Chachu? When did you get this nickname? Don't you have enough nicknames for me? Shiwana rolled her eyes at him unhappily. She could think of a lot of nicknames he gave her at random, and she must settle accounts with him after marrying him. Well, now she should think about whether to make him kneel on the remote control, the washboard, or the mouse. Thinking of his pitiful appearance kneeling on the mouse, Shiwana laughed happily. What are you laughing at? No. Shiwana denied. You still say no. I clearly saw you laughing. Are you thinking of something bad? No. For no reason. Her sweet lips were covered by a thick layer, and a masculine scent gushed out, making people feel suffocated. Cai Hongming kissed, sucking the sweet tenderness, wishing he could rub the person into his body. The night was full of ghosts, lonely lights, after images, no more insects, no more wind and water, and only the breathing of a pair of infatuated men and women who were in love. The next day, Shiwana abandoned her two good sisters without loyalty, and eloped with Cai Hongming. This disappointed Yanling and Yi, who came to Shiwana to kill Cai Hongming again, and they said that she forgot her friends for the sake of beauty. That morning, Cai Hongming and Shiwana went to Happy Valley to play to their heart's content. In the afternoon, they strolled along the flower-filled path in the botanical garden and wandered in the sea of flowers. In the evening, they found a luxury hotel and naturally got together. In the early morning, when the sun shone into the screen window, Shiwana opened her eyes and woke up, looking at the person next to her, thinking of the madness of last night. Her cheeks blushed, looking carefully at Cai Hongming, his sword-like eyebrows, his straight nose, and his thick lips. Everything was so charming that her hand couldn't help but touch him. How about it? Am I handsome? At this time, Cai Hongming suddenly opened his eyes and asked. This guy must have been pretending to sleep just now. Thinking of the infatuated look, just now that he had seen her, Shiwana was ashamed and angry and said, you handsome big-head ghost. After saying that, she was still not satisfied, and angrily picked up the pillow and hit Cai Hongming. This guy's always so arrogant. It was the same at the beginning. When others were combing their hair, he snatched it and combed it a few times, then shook his head and asked arrogantly, how about it? Am I handsome? She admitted that he was indeed a little handsome at that time. She was fat and silly at that time, and she sat in front of him. After a long time, she fell in love with him, so she secretly liked him. But now that she is so grown up, will she still be so infatuated? Although her heart was still pounding, it didn't matter anymore. After letting her hit him twice to vent her anger, Cai Hongming snatched the pillow and threw it aside, grabbed her and pressed her under the bed, and kissed her fiercely. Men and women who have tasted sex for the first time, they are addicted to it, like thunder and lightning, and they can't stop. For several days, the two stayed in the hotel, wantonly lingering, except for eating. They were almost stuck together, you and I. I don't know how many people envy the loveless couples who had a night of lovelessness. It was not until the fourth day that Yu Fihang called to say that the good carving was ready and asked him to see when he was free that he came to his senses. After thinking about it, he decided to take Shiwana with him. So, they got up and packed up casually, and the two took a car to Yangzhou. On the cold street, Yanling and Yi Yi walked alone on the street. Yi Yi, where did Chu Chu, that disloyal guy, go? Why haven't you seen him for a few days? Where else can he go? He must have been living together with that unqualified guy. This guy's really disloyal. When I come back, I must teach her a lesson and let her know how shameful it is to leave the organization. Yanling waved his fist and said angrily. Yi Yi nodded in agreement. Chapter 10 600,000. In the hall of Yu Fihang's house, Cai Hongming looked at the gourd that was carved smooth and round and felt that his craftsmanship this time was much better than last time. In addition to the slender and small shape this time, the front was also engraved with the 5 images of fortune, wealth, longevity, happiness and fortune mentioned by his father, making the gourd look more unique and wonderful, unlike the last time, when it was just a bare gourd. Master Yu's craftsmanship is really good. The gourd he carved this time is much better than the last one. Cai Hongming praised. Yu Fihang blushed when he heard his words. After a long time, he looked up at his father, who was sitting next to him and snorting, and then said weakly, "This was done by my father and me." Oh. Cai Hongming suddenly realized that it was no wonder that the style of this gourd was a little different from the last one. It seems that the old ginger is still spicy. Yu Fihang's craftsmanship is obviously not at the same level as his father's. No wonder he is always scolded by his father. It is estimated that the old man also hates that the wood is not good enough. Master Yu also wanted him to observe the emperor he was going to carve this time, so that he could know his shortcomings and improve his craftsmanship. Otherwise, he would not help to carve this gourd. Young man, what do you want to do with the leftover scraps? Master Yu asked beside him. What scraps? Cai Hongming asked puzzled. It's the black jade left over from carving the gourd. Yu Fihang explained. Are they still useful? Cai Hongming asked curiously. How could they be useless? Yu Fihang said. Those remaining black jades are small, but they are all made of top quality black jade. As long as they are slightly carved and made into pendants, ring faces, earrings, etc., it is not difficult to sell them for a good price. Many jade merchants are vying for them after seeing them. I don't know what to do with this either. Otherwise, Master Yu, you can help me deal with them. Cai Hongming scratched his head and said. Well, I'll make the decision. I happen to have a friend who does this business, so I'll call him and ask him to come over to talk face to face. If the price is right, we'll sell it to him. Yu Fihang picked up the phone and started to make a call. Hello, Casey, I have some top quality black jade scraps here. Do you want them? If you want them, come quickly. Well, that's it. After the call, he wrapped up the gourd on the table and gave it to Cai Hongming to keep. Less than 10 minutes after the call was hung up, the doorbell rang, and then a wealthy middle-aged man walked in from outside. Oh, why did the magpie call at the door so early in the morning? It turns out that there is something good waiting for me. Old Yu, where is the thing? Take it out and have a look. Before entering the house, Yu Fihang's old friend Wen Casey shouted loudly outside. When he arrived in the hall, he saw Master Yu and his expression choked. He said embarrassedly, Master, you are here too. Why can't I be here? Master Yu said in a muffled voice. No, if I knew you were here, I would have brought the good tea I just bought from home for you to taste. When Casey said quickly. Huh, do you think I would want your tea? Well, I don't care about your bullshit, just don't treat others unfairly in terms of price. No, I always keep my word in business, and my price is fair. Everyone in Yangzhou knows that. Yu Fihang didn't bother to talk to him and dragged out a plastic box from the side, opened the lid, and the unpolished black jade inside suddenly shone darkly under the light. When Casey looked at it, immediately ran over, squatted on the ground and carefully checked it. After looking at it, he said, "Not bad. They are all good things. I wonder how to sell them." These are the things of the young man, and he doesn't understand the market. You can give them as you like, just don't treat him unfairly. Master Yu spoke again. When Casey then realized that the owner of the pile of scraps was Cai Hongming, and he quickly took out his business card from his pocket and handed it over. "My name is Wen Casey, and I'm the boss of Fugi Jinayu family, specializing in the sale of gold and jade. If you have any good jade in the future, just call me, and the price I offer is absolutely fair." Cai Hongming politely took the business card. "Brother, do you think this will work? Although these scraps can be used to make some jade plaques and ornaments, they are too scattered and not many. I will buy them for 550,000 yuan. What do you think?" Although he said this to Cai Hongming, his eyes were looking at Master Yu. He knew that only the master could make the decision in this hall. What's the big deal about extra decimals? Isn't it better to make a whole number? Master Yu said unceremoniously. "Okay, then 100,000 yuan. Brother, do you want to transfer or cash?" When Casey asked Cai Hongming. "Transfer the money. But you only need to transfer 550,000 yuan. For the other 50,000 yuan, I want to ask Mr. Wang to help me make a set of jewelry for my wife with black jade inlaid on gold." This time, Master Yu did not speak, but when Casey said generously, "No, it's still 100,000 yuan, and I will give you that set of jewelry." Cai Hongming glanced at him and said nothing. After all, he is a businessman, and he is very careful in calculating. He can make people feel good about him with just tens of thousands of yuan. If there are good things in the future, they will definitely think of him first. This business is not a loss at all. Besides, he doesn't need 50,000 yuan to make jewelry himself. After transferring the money, when Casey called the clerk to bring the jewelry patterns over for Shiwana to choose, and to help her measure the size of the jewelry she was wearing. After the call, he did not leave, but sat down to drink tea with them. He and Yu Fihang grew up together, and were childhood friends. There is nothing to say about their friendship. After sitting down and drinking a few sips of tea, when Casey asked Yu Fihang, "With so many scraps, it must be a big piece of jade. I wonder what it is going to be carved into?" "Emperor," Yu Fihang said lightly. "The master carved it." When Casey's eyes widened. "Do you think I can carve it?" In front of his childhood friend, Yu Fihang frankly admitted that his skills were worse than the master's. "Then ask me to come and see it. The things the master carves are extraordinary. Master Yu has been learning carving from his father since he was a child. He has superb skills. Many of his works have won domestic awards, and one piece is even collected by the National Museum. Few people in the domestic and foreign jade carving circles don't know him. His best carving is Guan Yu. In the past, once the emperor he carved was released, it would immediately be sought after by people at home and abroad. But in recent years, due to limited energy, he has not carved much. When this emperor carved from the finest black jade is unveiled, it will surely attract the pursuit of people who believe in the emperor in Southeast Asia. At that time, there will probably be another price competition. When Master Yu heard his words, he sneered, as if to say that you have to say this. He was always thinking about the black jade in his heart. It was also because of Cai Hongming that he came out of the studio. Seeing that the matter had been dealt with, he no longer stayed here and got up and walked towards the studio. After he left, when Casey whispered to Yu Fihang, "Your old man is still so strong-willed. Don't let him hear this, otherwise you will be in trouble." Yu Fihang said unhappily, "What am I afraid of? I didn't say anything bad about him." Although he said so, when Casey still spoke in a low voice consciously. After a while, the clerk called by when Casey arrived. After the clerk helped Shiwana measure the size of the jewelry she was going to wear, he left with the clerk. After the matter was done, Cai Hongming and Shiwana also got up and said goodbye and left. Chapter 11 Magnolia Fragrance. After leaving Yu Fihang's house, Cai Hongming and Shiwana did not rush back to Shenzhen, but took this opportunity to play in Yangzhou and appreciate this city that Emperor Yang of Sui loved so much. apex novel because he got a large sum of money unexpectedly. He rewarded himself at night and checked into the presidential suite of the best hotel in Yangzhou to rest. After dinner, he and Shiwana sat in the lobby of the suite to watch TV, but their minds were obviously not on the TV. They hugged each other and kissed passionately, wishing to rub each other together. After a long time, their lips parted. Cai Hongming suddenly remembered something and hurried into the room. While Shiwana was not looking, he took out the gem necklace he bought in Yangzhou last time from the paradise and the jade tripod. "Beauty, come here, I'll show you something." Cai Hongming placed the necklace inlaid with various gems on the dining table and called to Shiwana. The woman is already his, and he is proposing to her now. How hypocritical. It's too late now. If you don't want to, just stretch out your hand. Seeing that she was not cooperating, Cai Hongming stood up and said viciously, "Of course not." Shiwana ran back to the bedroom with a sweet smile, turned around to close the door to prevent Cai Hongming from coming in, but he had already pounced on her, pushed the door open, hugged her and threw her on the bed, and forced her to put the ring on her. "You are really rebellious. You dare not listen to your husband. Let me teach you a lesson. Come on." "Who is afraid of who?" "The turtle is afraid of the hammer," Shiwana responded rudely. Seeing that she was still stubborn at this time, Cai Hongming took off her clothes without hesitation and punished her severely. In the end, Shiwana was so weak that her limbs collapsed in his arms and fell asleep, but her face did not look like she was being taught a lesson at all, but instead showed a happy smile. La 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 la, la 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 la. In the room, Shiwana took a piece of soft cloth and cleaned the ring that Cai Hongming gave her. As she cleaned it, the gemstone on the ring gradually became crystal clear and emitted a warm light, and the gold also became shiny, not at all the old look that Cai Hongming had just bought it. What's wrong with Chachu? Why do I feel that she has become silly since she came back from playing with that low-class guy? Sometimes she even laughs suddenly, which scares people and gives them goosebumps. Yi asked Yanling while eating potato chips. Who knows? Yanling blew on the colorful nails she had just made and said, "Just now I observed that she laughed for no reason at least 100 times in 10 minutes, with different expressions every time, either biting her lips, or frowning slightly, or singing stupidly, and the lyrics were all the same meaningless la 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 la, and she never changed. It seems that Choo Choo has been tricked by that guy. There is no hope." Yi sighed. "Alas, you said that beautiful women like us, who are as beautiful as flowers, who are so beautiful that they can shame the moon and the flowers, and who can make fish sink and geese fall, don't have boyfriends. But how come this silly guy has one? Do you think this is fair?" Yanling touched her little face and complained. "Yeah." Yi nodded desperately. "By the way, did you notice that in just 1 minute, she looked at the ring in her hand at least 57 times? Ah, I didn't notice that." Yi looked at Yanling with a strange look in her eyes, thinking that you calculated it too clearly. "Do you think it's a love ring?" Yanling and Yi looked at each other and felt that this possibility was at least 200%. Thinking of this possibility, the two of them winked at each other and quietly walked towards Shiwana. Although Shiwana, who was in love, was cleaning the ring, her heart was still immersed in the lingering with Cai Hongming in the past few days, and she didn't notice them coming. Caught off guard, the ring she was cleaning in her hand was snatched away by the two. "What are you doing? Give me the ring back quickly," Shiwana said angrily. "I won't give it back to you. I won't give it back to you. If you have the guts, come and chase me," Yanling said triumphantly after snatching the ring. Shiwana chased after her, but she ran back to the room all of a sudden, and Yi followed her with a smile, and the three of them suddenly made a scene in the room. For a while, *** filled the room. After bidding farewell to Shiwana, Cai Hongming took a plane back to Nanzhou, his hometown in southern Fujian. Nanzhou has no airport, so after getting off the plane at Ludao Airport, he took a bus directly from the airport to Nanzhou and went to the city of Nanzhou. Arriving in Nanzhou, the bus stopped at Nanzhou Hotel. When Cai Hongming walked out, he was greeted by the fragrance of magnolia. Looking around, he saw white magnolias blooming on both sides of the street, and the fragrance drifted in the wind, making people intoxicated. Nansao is an agricultural city, so there is no air pollution in industrial cities, no impetuousness in noisy cities, and a little more home comfort. He likes it here, likes the comfort of this city, likes the leisure of this city, and especially likes the magnolias on both sides of the street. This magnolia was planted by a general stationed in Nansao during the Republic of China. After 100 years, the general has gone, and the buildings on both sides of the street have been replaced again and again, but this white magnolia is still standing proudly, without the vicissitudes of time, but even stronger and more upright. Every time the magnolia blooms, he always likes to walk quietly here, feeling everything here, this time honored style. After taking a deep breath of the magnolia fragrance, he walked towards the long-distance bus station in front. This is not the end, but the beginning of a new journey. Chapter 12, Zenwujiro, Part 1. After several trips, Cai Hongming took a bus to Gangwei town, from where he could take a bus directly to his home. He hadn't been back for nearly a year, and the people in the town were still the same, but the old street had been demolished and rebuilt, and a row of green trees were planted, which looked fresh and tidy, much better than the old street before. But I don't know which wicked guy chose to use the beauty tree for greening, and he was not afraid of causing trouble. The beauty tree is beautiful when it blooms, but the thorns on the tree will become very hard and sharp when it grows up. If you accidentally hit it, your skin will definitely be broken and bleeding. At that time, it will be another "the man says the man is right, the woman says the woman is right" lawsuit. After staying in Shenzhen for a few days, the parcel shipped from Guilin to this place through logistics has arrived. Cai Hongming found a truck, went to the logistics to pick up the things, and then went to the village. Kajia village is located in Pinhai mountain. In front of the village is a columnar basalt condensed by a volcanic eruption billions of years ago, and behind it are vast mountains. There is only one fertile land between basalt and mountains in the village. For many years, the people of Kajia village have survived on this meager income. Because of its remote location, express delivery and logistics cannot reach here at all, so every time there is something, it can only be sent to the town, and then run to pick it up. After a while, the village is still the same, with no changes. Now that the beginning of winter has passed, the rice in the fields has been harvested, and the rice fields on the roadside are all empty, with only one crop of rice heads left. However, some people have plowed the land, applied some fertilizer and planted wheat. The climate in southern Fujian is mild. If you master it well, you can plant 2 crops of rice and 1 crop of wheat a year, but the yield of wheat is very small, basically in a state of being dispensable. I remember that every time this season came, I would call a few friends, take hoes and bags to dig voles. For this, I was scolded by adults at that time, because most of the voles holes were on the stalks of the fields. If they were dug badly, it would be difficult to walk, and I would have to rest again next year, which was very troublesome. Because Cai Hongming's family went to the northwest in their early years, and did not build a house in the village, when the family was divided, his grandfather was afraid that they would have no place to live when they returned. So he gave a 2-entry old house to his father, and his second uncle lived in the newly built building. The old house has gone through hundreds of years of ups and downs, and has long been dilapidated, so his parents spent money to renovate it last year. Today, the old house is no longer old at all, but instead exudes a simple and heavy historical charm, with profound connotations. The truck drove to the old house and stopped. Cai Hongming saw that the door was open and there was no one inside, so he couldn't help but shout loudly, "Grandpa." The voice was heard far away in the clear mountains, but it was strange that no one came out for a long time. What's going on? Cai Hongming was confused. His grandfather has now handed over all the bone setting and massage to his second uncle, and he is planting flowers and vegetables to enjoy his old age. People are at home most of the time. Why is there no one today? Strange. After thinking for a while, he thought that she might have gone out, so he and the truck driver carried the things sent to him into the house. Her mother didn't know what she put in there, but it was so heavy that one person couldn't carry it. Even if 2 people carried it, it was still heavy. After carrying the things and coming outside, he saw his good friend Cai Zengson coming from a distance. Cai Hongming looked at him and smiled. "Why are you here, kid? Didn't I hear you went to the province to be a coach? The provincial games ended recently, and I didn't have anything to do, so I came back to rest for a while. Your grandpa said a few days ago that you were coming back. Why did you come now? I played in Shenzhen for a few days. By the way, do you know where my grandpa is? Why is there no one at home? Wangshi accidentally broke his leg while grazing cattle on the mountain, and your grandpa and second uncle ran over to see him. Then why didn't you go? I was just about to go, and I came over when I heard you calling. Your voice is still the same as before, and I guess the whole village can hear your voice now. It's not an estimate, but a certainty. The village is not very big, and there are mountains on both sides, so the echo is very strong. Sometimes the whole village can hear the loud fart of the cow, not to mention his broken gong-like voice. With good friends around, there is no need for the truck driver to help next. He gave the money and politely asked if he wanted to go in for tea. The driver said there was no need to drive and left. He and Cai Hongming moved the remaining things into the house and then took out a bag of candied fruit made from caligonum from the luggage as a snack. The two of them drank tea and ate in the house. Speaking of which, none of the fruits in the northwest desert are edible. Bitter beans are bitter, cold, and poisonous. Caligonum are sour and slightly sweet, and eating too much will cause constipation. Sea buckthorn fruit is sour and difficult to eat. Caligonum is even more bitter. Only whitethorn fruit is better, which is basically sweet. However, these things are all commonly used sand preventing and sand protecting plants in the northwest region for desert control. They have high medicinal and nutritional value, and have always been highly praised by the government. Not to mention other things, bitter beans are flavor medicines, and their medicinal value goes without saying. Caligonum is now promoted to almost everyone. Beverages and wines made from sea buckthorn fruit have made a good reputation in the northwest region. Relatively speaking, Caligonum is a bit short, ugly and poor, and can only be reduced to food for camels. Therefore, Caligonum has never been a big deal. That is why, every time the ripening season comes, large tracts of red jujubes can only be reduced to ornamental plants. Later, some people felt that it was a pity to waste so many jujubes, so they picked them home, removed the bitterness and pickled them, and made them into sweet candied fruit. Not to mention the taste is really delicious. Unfortunately, the processing cost of this thing is far higher than its value, so it has not been promoted. It can only be bought in the area around Giling. After making tea for a while, Cai Hongming's grandfather Cai Lang came back, followed by his second uncle. Although Cai Lang is nearly 70 years old, he is in good health, with bright eyes and a loud tread. Grandpa, second uncle, Cai Hongming saw the two of them, stood up and called them affectionately. Why did you walk for so long? Didn't your mother say she would be back a few days ago? Seeing Cai Hongming, Cai Lang asked with a glare. I played in Shenzhen for a few days. Still so playful. Cai Lang said this feedly. Grandpa, second uncle, come and have a taste. This is the specialty jujube I brought back from the northwest. Cai Hongming quickly handed the jujube to his grandfather and second uncle, and gave up the place to make tea, so that the old man would not start to reason again. Cai Lang took a few and tasted them, and found that the taste was really good, not sweet or greasy, just right. Cai Hongming waited for them to taste it, then put the things down, and opened the half-person high package packed by his mother. Inside, his mother packed it in categories, and wrote the names of people who were going to give it to. He took out a big bag from it. Wow, it was so heavy, and he didn't know what it was. This is for his second uncle. I originally wanted him to take it back, but it's so heavy that I'd better take it myself later. There are several other big bags, all for relatives. It seems that I have to be a courier to deliver them to my relatives one by one in the next 2 days. Go to my house for dinner in the future. Now your grandpa doesn't cook, so you eat at my place. His second uncle Cai Xiao said while making tea. Oh. Cai Hongming responded, and took out a package, and threw it to Cai Hongming. Take it, this is a good thing I brought from the northwest. What is it? Cai Hongming asked, looking at the tightly packed carton. Some Cistercian cordyceps sinensis, and a few snow lotus. Cordyceps sinensis is very expensive. Why are you giving it to me? Just keep it at home, and sell it yourself. It's a waste for me. I bought it there. The price is not as expensive as the pharmacy, and I don't give you many, just a few. Keep them for yourself to chew. Cai Hongming said indifferently. He treated himself like an animal and chewed it. Seeing that it was a gift from a good friend, Cai Zengson put it away. Cai Hongming said again, this thing is also expensive there. Next year I will go there to dig it for free. Let's see if I can dig it. If I can, I will give you a few more. Can you dig this thing yourself? Cai Zengson asked curiously. I have a helper at the barbecue stall over there. She is from Tibet. Their village has a grassland on the mountain. I heard that cordyceps sinensis is also produced there, but the quantity is not very large. But who am I? I have a sharp eye. No matter how much there is, I will definitely find it. Cai Hongming made a gesture of sharp eyes and said proudly, also, I will ask my mother to send some fresh beef by express in a few days. I will send it to you then, so that you can also taste the fresh yak meat from the northwest. The package in your hand has some yak jerky. Although it is a bit hard, it tastes good. You can try it first. Cai Lang looked at his grandson who was talking non-stop and touched his chin with great satisfaction. This house still needs more people to be lively. Chapter 13, Zenwujio, Part 2. In the evening, Cai Hongming went to his second uncle Cai Xiao's house for dinner. Cai Xiao has a daughter and a son. His daughter is married, and his son works in the city. Usually, there are only him, his wife and himself at home. Today, Cai Hongming came back, and the couple was very happy. After dinner, they took out the homemade bayberry wine and drank it. Bayberry wine is very popular in southern Fujian. Most families will brew some and store it at home. Cai Hongming's second uncle's house has a jar of bayberry wine that is nearly 20 years old. The older this kind of wine is, the better. If you have a stomachache or dizziness, you can drink 2 glasses. The effect is amazing. After drinking 2 glasses of bayberry wine, Cai Hongming remembered the good wine in the paradise of Yuding, so he took it out and poured it for his grandfather, second uncle and second aunt. Grandpa, second uncle, second aunt, come, try my wine. What kind of wine is this? Why is it so light? There is no taste of wine at all. Cai Lang took the wine glass with the good wine and tasted it. It didn't taste like wine. After drinking it, his second uncle and second aunt also felt that it was similar to water. Grandpa, this is not brewed wine, it is natural. Cai Hongming explained the origin of the good wine. His grandfather, second uncle and second aunt almost thought he was telling a story from a strange stories from a Chinese studio. Grandpa, you drink more. After my mother drank this wine, she woke up the next morning and said that her waist was thinner, her face was whiter, and her wrinkles were gone. She was at least 10 years younger. His grandfather, second uncle and second aunt just thought he was joking. After not returning for almost a year, Cai Hongming found that his grandfather, second uncle and second aunt had obviously aged a lot, especially the grandfather, who was very old. So he took out the good wine to see if its magical effect could make the elderly people younger. He would mix the jade toad liquid with water and make some for the elderly to drink another day. After drinking the jade toad liquid, he felt that he not only became more energetic, but also felt much better in all aspects of his body. I think it should be able to improve the elderly's health. After dinner, Cai Zengson came over. Cai Hongming said goodbye to his family and went out with his friend with a flashlight. The two walked on the country road, talking about their experiences in the past year. As they talked about how old they were, and they couldn't help but sigh that time flies. The bright moon in the sky was like a mirror, shining on the two of them, casting a long shadow. Slowly, the two walked out of the village and came to the foot of the basalt mountain formed by the volcanic eruption in front. The two shone on the pillar-like basalt and then climbed up along the high and low strips of basalt. After a while, the two came to the middle of the mountain, shone with the flashlight, and moved a stone to the side together. Suddenly, a cave entrance more than half a meter high was revealed. Cai Hongming and Cai Zengson grew up together, and they did countless naughty things such as catching voles and taking bird eggs. Sometimes, out of curiosity, the two would go to the mountains together to explore. This is where the two accidentally discovered that there is a natural geothermal hot spring in the cave. Since they found it, they often come here to take a bath. Because of the hidden location, the secret of this hot spring has never been discovered. When he came in, Cai Hongming took off his clothes and soaked in the warm water. After soaking in the hot spring for a while, the fatigue of the journey was instantly swept away. It's so comfortable, Cai Hongming said almost excitedly, while sitting in the volcanic mud of the hot spring pool. It really feels much better to soak in it. What do you think about us developing this place into a hot spring resort? You don't want to work in the province anymore? Cai Hongming looked at his friend, wondering why he had such an idea. Working under someone else, you work so hard, but there is no reward. If you make a mistake, you will be scolded. It's not like we have nothing to do, so why do we have to be slaves? Cai Hongming grabbed a handful of mud and rubbed his body and said, aren't you a coach? Why are people scolding you? That's a state agency, with complicated relationships and a lot of messy things. It's not our village, so you can do whatever you want. That's right. However, if you want to develop this place into a hot spring resort, it will cost a lot of money. Do you have money? I have saved some money in the past few years, but it's probably not enough, so I want to find you to develop it together. What do you think? Money is no problem, but our place is remote and few people come here. I don't think business will be very good. Now the undersea tunnel from Ludao to Nansao port is open. It's so close to us. As long as the advertising is good, there is no need to worry about no one coming. Cai Hongming listened and nodded. Ludao's special zone has a large population and strong consumption power. If the popularity of the hot spring resort can be promoted, there is no need to worry about lack of business. In addition, this place is by the sea, and the scenery here can be mentioned when promoting it. I believe that with the beautiful scenery here, it should attract many car owners to come and play. This is a good idea. Our village will also benefit from it if it is done well. Let's do this. You first find someone to design a blueprint and then see how much money is needed. In addition to your money, I will make up for the shortfall, which can be considered an investment. If we want to do it, we should make it bigger. Not only a hot spring, but also a farmer's own fruit orchard. When people are tired of picking fruits, they will go to the hot spring. We should also build a unique farm-style restaurant for people to eat. However, the first thing to do now is to buy this land. This land belongs to our village, right? It belongs to our village. That's easy. You go to your third uncle tomorrow and buy the land. The bigger the better. Then ask someone to come and design the hot spring villa we want to build. I will give you 400,000 first, and the rest depends on how much you need. I will give it to you after the Chinese New Year. The reason why he had to wait until the Chinese New Year was that he didn't have much money now. He had to wait until the Chinese New Year to sell the black jade guangong to have money. After taking a bath, the two blocked the entrance to the cave and went home. The next morning, Cai Hongming got up early and after dinner, he rode the motorcycle he had bought and left at his second uncle's house and took the gifts that his mother wanted to give to relatives to each family to deliver. It was not until noon that almost all the things were delivered and only the gifts for his aunt were left. After lunch, he took the things and went to his aunt's house. The sea breeze was blowing and there were bursts of fishy and wet smells. Cai Hongming's aunt married in Zenwujiao, not far from the village. Zenwujiao is just a general place name, which means that their area is the end of the town. Their village is also called Zenwui Village. Zenwui Village is a mountain village by the sea, but few people in their village make a living in the sea. The sea wind and waves are unpredictable, and the storm can come and go in an instant. Life and death are determined by heaven, not by oneself, and it is not as beautiful as described in novels. There is a village next door that makes a living by the sea. People die every year. There are many asterisk in the village, and some people call them asterisk village. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.